I never let anyone see me cry, until the night the janitor's daughter found me alone in my corner office, 30 floors above a city that feared me. One touch from her small hand shattered the walls I'd built since my father died, walls I needed when my own brother was secretly plotting to destroy everything I'd built. How was I supposed to know that the quiet man who mopped my floors at night would pull me from a fire, take a bullet for me, and teach my frozen heart to beat again? They say power and love can't coexist, but they've never seen what happens when an ice queen melts for the only man who never tried to use her, and the little girl who saw her tears when no one else bothered to look. The most dangerous choice I ever made wasn't signing that billion-dollar merger. It was letting them in when everyone I'd ever trusted had abandoned me. Subscribe right now if you've ever had to choose between the empire you built and the love you never saw coming. I need to know I'm not the only one who risked everything. I stand before the board, 20 men in identical suits with identical smiles. Their eyes track my movements across the polished floor. The quarterly report shines on the screen behind me, numbers climbing higher than projected. Vale Innovations has exceeded targets by 23%, I say. My voice doesn't waver. It never does. Chairman Brookfield adjusts his tie, a tell I've cataloged over 3 years of these meetings. He hates when I win. The Robinson acquisition seems rushed, he says. The market might interpret this as desperation. I slide the projections across the table without breaking eye contact. The market will interpret 40% growth as strength. The numbers silence him. They always do. I built this company from my father's ashes, turned his failing tech firm into an empire. These men hate me for it. Any other concerns? I ask. The silence stretches across the table. My victory sits between us, cold and complete. Then we're adjourned, I say. They file out with murmured congratulations that never reach their eyes. I remain standing until the last one leaves. The door closes with a soft click. Alone in the boardroom, I exhale. My shoulders drop a fraction of an inch. The victory feels hollow. A script I've performed too many times. I return to my office on the top floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame Chicago's skyline, buildings glittering against the darkening sky. My reflection stares back. Perfect suit, perfect hair, perfect mask. My phone buzzes. Another acquisition completed. Another victory. I feel nothing. The squeak of wheels breaks the silence. The night janitor's cart passes my open door. I glance at my watch. 8:47 p.m. Everyone else left hours ago. I turn back to the window and see it. A single crack in my reflection. Not in the glass. In me. My eyes burn. I blink rapidly. CEOs don't cry. Vale women don't cry. But the tear falls anyway, a betrayal sliding down my cheek. Are you crying? The small voice startles me. I whip around, hand automatically wiping away the evidence. A little girl stands in my doorway. Dark curls frame her face, wide eyes watching me with curiosity rather than judgment. No, I say quickly. I'm not crying. My voice is steady again. I'm good at that. Steadiness when everything inside trembles. It's okay, she says. My daddy says tears are just feelings that got too big for your heart. Her innocence stuns me into silence. I stare at this child who wandered into my fortress. Heavy footsteps approach. A man appears behind her, tall and broad-shouldered in a gray uniform. His eyes widen when he sees me. Sophia, he says sharply, I told you to stay in the break room. But Daddy, she was crying, the girl, Sophia says. The man's eyes dart to my face, then quickly away. I apologize, Miss Vale. She won't bother you again. He reaches for his daughter's hand, but she steps toward me instead. Before I can move, her small fingers touch my cheek, wiping away the tear track I missed. I freeze at the contact. When was the last time someone touched me without agenda? Sophia, the man's voice carries warning now. We don't touch people without permission. The girl drops her hand. Sorry. The man, the janitor, steps forward. His name tag reads R. Cruz. His face is all angles and authority, stubble darkening his jaw. His hands are calloused when he gently pulls his daughter back. My apologies, he says. His voice is deep, controlled. It won't happen again. It's fine, I say automatically, though nothing about this feels fine. His eyes meet mine briefly. They're dark, assessing, without the deference I'm accustomed to. He doesn't look at me like the others, with fear or desire or calculation. He looks at me like I'm simply a person. It's unsettling. Let's go, Sophia, he says. Miss Vale is busy. Good night, Sophia says, smiling at me. I don't reply. I watch them leave, the little girl's hand in her father's, her head turned back once to look at me. The silence returns, heavier than before. Morning light streams through the windows of my penthouse. I stand under the shower's spray, water pressure set to almost painful. The encounter with the janitor and his daughter plays in my mind. I scrub harder, washing away the memory. My phone rings as I dress. Elena, we have a situation. Clara's voice is tight. My assistant never panics, which makes her tone more alarming. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Make it 10. I arrive at the office in 12. Clara waits by the elevator, tablet in hand, gray suit impeccable as always. Her presence has steadied me through a decade of crises. What happened? I ask as we walk. The Cameron project files, she says. They're missing. My steps falter. That's impossible. Those files are secured on a separate server. They're gone, all of them, including your father's original notes. My father's legacy, his final project before his death. My pulse quickens. Could it be a technical error, I ask? It found evidence of targeted access, Clara says. This wasn't an accident. I stop walking. Who? They're tracking the breach now. We enter my office. The space feels different in daylight, exposed. I think of those dark eyes watching me last night, judging me. The board can't know about this, I say, not until we understand what happened. Clara nods. I've restricted the information to senior security personnel only. I sit at my desk, immediately checking the secure server. The Cameron project folder exists, but the files inside are corrupted, unreadable. My father's work, the breakthrough that would have revolutionized neural interfaces, potentially gone. Have you told Marcus? I ask. Not yet, Clara says. I came to you first. My half-brother handles external investments, separate from daily operations. He doesn't need to know immediately, but he'll find out eventually. Marcus always does. Good, I say. Let's keep it that way for now. I spend hours with the security team. They find nothing conclusive, only that someone accessed the server using valid credentials. An inside job. Night falls. I dismiss everyone but remain at my desk, scrolling through logs and access records. The building quiets around me. My eyes burn from screen glare. I hear the familiar squeak of wheels outside my office. The janitor, Cruz, begins his rounds. I wonder if his daughter is with him again. I push the thought away and focus on the files. I need to fix this before the board discovers the breach. Before Marcus discovers it. My father trusted me with his company, his legacy. I won't fail him. A shadow passes my doorway. I glance up, half expecting to see the little girl. Instead, it's Cruz. His eyes meet mine briefly before he continues past. My focus breaks. The silence hums around me. I stand and walk to the window. The city sprawls below. lights twinkling against the darkness. In the reflection, I see movement behind me. I turn. The girl, Sophia, stands in my doorway again, her sketchbook clutched against her chest. "Hi," she says. I glance past her, expecting her father to appear. "You shouldn't be here alone." "Daddy's cleaning the conference room," she says. "I was supposed to stay in the break room, but I got bored." I should call security. I should send her back to the break room. Instead, I ask, "What's that?" She holds up her sketchbook. "My drawings." "You like to draw?" She nods, stepping into my office without invitation. I draw everything I see. I feel a smile tug at my lips. Everything. "Mostly people," she says. "I drew you." This stops me. "Me?" She flips open her sketchbook and turns it toward me. The drawing shows a woman standing alone by a window. The proportions are childish, but the solitude is captured perfectly. "That's not a very happy picture," I say. Sophia shrugs. "You're not very happy." The simple observation hits harder than any boardroom critique. I turn, back to the window, unable to face the truth in a child's drawing. "Why are you sad?" she asks. "I'm not sad," I say automatically. "I'm working." "You look sad," she insists, "like when my mommy went to heaven." I turn back to her. "Your mother died?" She nods. 3 years ago. Daddy says she watches me from the stars now." My chest tightens. "I'm sorry." "It's okay," she says with the resilience of childhood. "Daddy takes good care of me." I wonder what that feels like, to be taken care of, to trust someone completely. "Sophia." The voice from the doorway makes us both jump. Cruz stands there, anger and fear battling across his face. "I told you to stay in the break room." "I was just showing her my drawing," Sophia says, lower lip trembling. "It's fine," I say. "She wasn't bothering me." His eyes find mine, suspicious, protective. "It's past her bedtime. She shouldn't be here at all, but my sitter canceled last minute." "I understand," I say, though I don't. I know nothing about children or canceled sitters or bedtimes. He holds out his hand to Sophia. "Come on, mija. Let Ms. Vale work." She clutches her sketchbook tighter. "I'm sorry, Daddy." His expression softens. "It's okay. Just come with me now." Sophia walks to him, then turns back to me. "Bye, Ms. Vale." "Goodbye, Sophia," I say. She smiles, revealing a missing front tooth. Something inside me shifts, a crack in foundations I thought impenetrable. Cruz nods curtly and leads her away. I watch them go, feeling oddly bereft. I turn back to my computer, but the breach seems less urgent somehow. I save the logs and shut down. The night security guard raises an eyebrow when I exit. Elena Vale never leaves before midnight. The drive home feels longer than usual. I think about Sophia's drawing, about the sadness she saw in me that I refuse to acknowledge. My penthouse welcomes me with silent emptiness. I stand by my own window, 36 floors up, and wonder what the janitor's home looks like. If Sophia's drawings cover the walls, if they laugh together over dinner. I shake the thoughts away. I don't need those things. I have what matters: power, control, success. But as I slip into bed alone, Sophia's words echo. "You're not very happy." And for the first time in years, I let myself admit, she's right. Morning brings renewed focus. The missing files must be my priority. I arrive early, sending Clara to coordinate with external cybersecurity consultants and check personnel records for our crews, I add, aiming for casualness. Clara raises an eyebrow. "The night janitor? Has there been a complaint?" "No," I say quickly. "Just curious about his background." "I'll pull his file," she says, her expression neutral but questioning. An hour later, she places a thin folder on my desk. Rafael Cruz, 33 years old, ex-Marine, widower. hired 3 months ago with excellent references from his previous employment at Chicago Memorial Hospital. Nothing suspicious, nothing to explain my fascination. I close the file, irritated with myself. I have more important concerns than a janitor with boundary issues regarding his daughter. The day proceeds with meetings and damage control. I instruct IT to rebuild the Cameron project from backup servers. But the most crucial files, my father's original notes, existed only on the compromised system. Evening arrives with no progress. The board meeting is in 2 days. I need answers before then. Clara leaves at 9. Unusual for her. Call if anything develops, she says. And Elena, get some sleep tonight. I nod, though we both know I won't. The office empties. I wait for the familiar squeak of the janitor's cart, straining to hear it over the hum of the building. When it doesn't come, I feel a strange disappointment. I return to the logs, searching for any pattern in the breach. The screen blurs before me. I rub my eyes, exhaustion settling into my bones. A soft tapping draws my attention. Sophia stands in my doorway again, but this time she knocks politely on the frame. "Hi, Ms. Vale," she says. I glance at the clock. 10:27 p.m. It's late. Why aren't you in bed? Daddy has to work, she says. I promised to stay in the break room, but you got bored again. I finish. She nods, smiling shyly. Can I sit with you? I'll be quiet. I should say no. I should call Cruz to collect his daughter. Instead, I gesture to the couch against the wall. You can sit there, but quietly. She beams and scampers to the couch, climbing up with her sketchbook. True to her word, she opens it and begins drawing in silence. I return to my work, but my awareness of her presence makes concentration impossible. After 10 minutes of rereading the same security log, I look over at her. What are you drawing? I ask. She holds up the sketchbook. The city lights. I move to the couch, sitting beside her with careful distance between us. The drawing shows the Chicago skyline from my office window, childish but recognizable. That's very good, I say. Thanks, she says. Daddy says I get it from my mom. She was an artist, too. What kind of artist? She painted murals, Sophia says proudly. Big pictures on walls. Daddy has photos. I nod, trying to imagine this janitor's life. A widower raising an artistic daughter, working nights to support them. Where do you go to school? I ask. Lincoln Elementary, she says. I'm in 2nd grade. Do you like it? She shrugs. It's okay. The other kids think I'm weird because I draw all the time. My chest tightens. I recognize the isolation in her words. They just don't understand. She looks up at me, eyes wide with surprise at my understanding. That's what Daddy says, too. Your dad seems smart, I say, surprising myself with the admission. Sophia nods emphatically. He's the smartest. He can fix anything. Anything? Engines, mostly. He used to be a mechanic in the Marines. Then he fixed ambulances at the hospital. I frown. Why is he working as a janitor? If he's a mechanic? Sophia's face falls. The hospital closed his department. He says this job has better hours for taking care of me. Better hours. Working nights while his daughter stays up past her bedtime. Something doesn't add up. Do you miss your mom? I ask softly. She nods, fingers tracing the edge of her drawing. Sometimes I forget what her voice sounded like. I know that feeling too well. My mother left when I was 6, disappeared into a new life without a backward glance. My father raised me alone until his death 3 years ago. I understand, I say. Sophia looks up at me. Did your mommy go to heaven too? No, I say. She just left. That's sad, Sophia says with childlike simplicity. Yes, I admit. It is. We sit in silence. For the first time in years, I've acknowledged my mother's abandonment aloud to a 7-year-old stranger. "What happened to your father?" I ask, changing the subject. "I don't have a father," Sophia says, "just Daddy." I smile at her logic. "Of course. What about your daddy?" she asks. "He died," I say. 3 years ago? Do you miss him?" "Every day." She nods, then understanding beyond her years. "That's why you're sad." Before I can respond, heavy footsteps approach. Cruz appears in the doorway, eyes widening when he sees us sitting together. "Sophia," he says, voice tight. "I told you not to bother Miss Vale." "She's not bothering me," I say, rising from the couch. "We were just talking." His eyes narrow with suspicion. "About what?" "Art," I say. "She's very talented." Something shifts in his expression. Surprise, then pride. "Yes, she is." Sophia bounces up, running to her father. "Miss Vale likes my drawings, Daddy." He places a protective hand on her shoulder. "It's time to go, mija. Miss Vale is busy." "Actually," I say, "I was about to take a break. Would you like some coffee, Mr. Cruz?" The invitation surprises us both. He stares at me, clearly trying to determine my motives. "No, thank you," he says finally. "I need to finish my work." "Daddy," Sophia whines. "I'm hungry." "We'll eat soon," he promises. "I have food," I offer, "in the executive kitchen." "We don't need your charity," he says, voice suddenly hard. I step back, stung by his tone. "It's not charity. It's a sandwich." His jaw tightens. "Come on, Sophia, we're going." "But Daddy." "Now, Sophia." She sighs dramatically but obeys, gathering her sketchbook. "Bye, Miss Vale." "Goodbye, Sophia," I say. Cruz doesn't meet my eyes as he ushers his daughter out. His rejection burns more than it should. I'm used to people wanting things from me, not refusing what I offer. I return to my desk, anger replacing confusion. Fine. If the janitor wants to starve his daughter out of pride, that's his business. But I can't focus. The image of Sophia's disappointed face haunts me. With a frustrated sigh, I grab my purse and head to the executive kitchen. I make 2 sandwiches and leave them in the break room with a note. "In case you're hungry, HIV. It's not charity. It's basic human decency. If Cruz can't accept that, it's his problem." I return to my office and force myself to focus on the security breach. An hour passes before I hear it. The fire alarm blaring through the building. The alarm screams. Red lights flash along the corridor. I grab my phone and run toward the sound. Security protocols dictate evacuation, but I need to know what's happening. Smoke billows from the server room door. 2 security guards stand outside, fire extinguishers ready. "Ms. Vale, you need to evacuate," one calls. I ignore him. "What happened?" "Fire in the server room. We've called the fire department." My heart pounds. "The servers, they're trying to contain it," he says. A crash sounds from inside the room. Without thinking, I push past the guards and reach for the door. "Miss Vale, no!" the guard shouts. I throw open the door. Thick smoke chokes the air. Through the haze, I see flames licking at the central server bank, where the Cameron project was stored. This isn't an accident. I step inside, pulling my blazer over my mouth. The heat hits me like a wall. I need to reach the manual override to activate the suppression system before everything is destroyed. I take another step. The smoke thickens. My eyes burn. Then strong arms wrap around my waist, yanking me backward. I struggle against the grip. "Let go," I shout. "Move," a deep voice commands in my ear. Cruz drags me from the doorway seconds before part of the ceiling collapses. The impact sends us both sprawling into the corridor. His body shields mine as debris rains down. The fire suppression system finally activates, spraying chemical retardant through the server room. The alarms continue blaring. Cruz pushes himself up. hovering over me. Are you hurt? I shake my head, breathless. His face hovers inches from mine, concern replacing his usual guardedness. What were you thinking? He demands. You could have been killed. His anger surprises me. Why should he care? The servers, I say, sitting up. The project. Is hardware worth your life? He asks incredulously. Before I can answer, security personnel surround us. Cruz moves back, creating distance between us. Miss Vale, are you all right? The head of security asks. I'm fine, I say, rising to my feet. My suit is covered in dust and debris. What happened? We're investigating, he says. Initial assessment suggests arson. My blood runs cold. Arson. The fire started in 3 separate locations simultaneously, he explains. That doesn't happen by accident. I look toward Cruz, but he's already walking away, heading toward the break room where Sophia must be waiting. His uniform is torn at the shoulder, revealing a tattoo partially hidden beneath. The fire department arrives. I spend the next hour answering questions and assessing damage. The server room is destroyed, along with any hope of recovering my father's original notes. When the building is finally cleared, I return to my office. My hands shake as I pour myself a drink. Someone deliberately targeted the servers, someone who knew exactly what they contained. A soft knock interrupts my thoughts. Clara stands in the doorway, face pale with worry. I came as soon as I heard, she says. Are you okay? I'm fine, I say automatically. The servers? She asks. I shake my head. Destroyed. All of them. Clara closes the door. This was targeted, Elena. The Cameron project. I know, I say. We need to review everyone with access. Someone inside the company is working against us. She nods, already making notes on her tablet. The board will want answers. Then we'd better find some, I say. Fast. She hesitates. There's something else. Rafael Cruz. My pulse quickens. What about him? He pulled you from the fire, she says. Security said he risked his life. He did his job, I say, more harshly than intended. Clara gives me a long look. He's being treated for smoke inhalation and minor burns. I thought you should know. She leaves me with this information, another weight on my conscience. Cruz is injured because of me, because I rushed into danger without thinking. I finish my drink and head to the medical station set up in the lobby. The emergency responders treat several employees for minor injuries. I spot Cruz sitting alone on a bench, oxygen mask beside him, bandage wrapped around his right hand. I approach slowly. He looks up at my footsteps, expression guarded. Mr. Cruz, I say formally. I wanted to thank you for your assistance. His eyes meet mine. Just doing my job. The echo of my own words to Clara stings. Nevertheless, your actions were heroic. Vale Innovations would like to compensate you for your injuries. His jaw tightens. I don't want your money. You're injured, I say, because of me. Because I chose to help, he corrects. That doesn't come with a price tag. His pride infuriates me. This isn't about charity, Mr. Cruz. It's about responsibility. Then be responsible, he says, standing. But not to me. He winces slightly, his bandaged hand trembling. The vulnerability in the movement contradicts his stubborn words. Where's Sophia? I ask, changing tactics. Social services took her, he says, voice tight with worry. Standard procedure when a parent is injured on the job. My chest tightens. That's ridiculous. She should be with you. I agree, he says, but I don't make the rules. For once, we share common ground. I can help with that. His eyes narrow. How? I have connections in family services, I say. I can expedite her return. He studies me, suspicion battling with hope. Why would you do that? Because I know what it's like to be separated from a parent. Because his daughter wiped away my tears when no one else even noticed them. Because it's the right thing to do, I say simply. He holds my gaze for a long moment. Thank you. The words seem difficult for him. I nod, already pulling out my phone to make the call. Within an hour, Sophia returns, running straight into her father's arms despite the social worker's cautions about his injuries. He hugs her tightly with his uninjured arm, eyes closed in relief. I watch from a distance, an outsider to their reunion. When Cruz looks up and sees me, he nods once. Acknowledgement, perhaps even gratitude. It's enough. It has to be. Morning brings chaos. News of the fire spreads through the company. Clara creates a crisis management team while I meet with investigators. The evidence is conclusive, the fire inspector says. Accelerant was used in 3 locations around the server room. Inside job, I ask. He nods. Someone who knows the building layout and security protocols. I think of the missing files, the targeted servers. Someone is systematically attacking my father's legacy, and by extension me. The board calls an emergency meeting. I stand before them again, but this time without the confidence of numbers on my side. 2 security breaches in 3 days, Chairman Brookfield says. This raises serious concerns about your leadership, Elena. I maintain my composure. The situations are being addressed. New security protocols are already in place. The Cameron project was your father's crowning achievement, another board member says. Now it's gone. Not gone, I correct. We have partial backups. The core research remains intact. It's a half-truth at best. We have fragments, not enough to move forward without substantial reconstruction. The meeting ends without resolution. The board wants results, not explanations. I have 3 days to provide them before they vote on my continued leadership. I return to my office, rage building inside me. Someone is trying to destroy everything I've built, everything my father entrusted to me. Clara enters without knocking, her expression grim. Rafael Cruz refused the compensation package. I look up, momentarily distracted from my fury. What? He signed the medical release but rejected the financial compensation, she says, rather forcefully, according to HR. My jaw tightens. His pride will cost his daughter groceries. That's not all, Clara says. His background check came back. There's more to him than his resume shows. She hands me a folder. I open it to find military records, certificates, and news articles. Rafael Cruz wasn't just a Marine mechanic. He was a decorated sergeant with specialized training in security systems and mechanical engineering. His wife wasn't simply an artist. She was Maria Vasquez Cruz, a community activist killed in a shooting 3 years ago. Why is a man with these qualifications working as a night janitor? I ask. Clara shakes her head. That's the question, isn't it? I close the folder, mind racing. Cruz has the skills to orchestrate the breaches, but what would his motive be? And why bring his daughter to the scene of his crimes? Keep this between us, I tell Clara. I want to handle this. Personally? She raises an eyebrow but doesn't question me. There's a board dinner tomorrow night. You should attend to smooth things over. I nod, already planning my confrontation with Cruz. I need answers, and I'll get them tonight. The day drags. I review security footage, interview staff, and oversee the server recovery efforts. Nothing points conclusively to any suspect. Night falls. I dismiss my security detail, claiming I need solitude to work. In reality, I want no witnesses to my conversation with Cruz. I wait in my office, watching the clock. At 10:15 p.m., I hear the familiar squeak of wheels. I step into the hallway. Cruz pushes his cart alone. No sign of Sophia. His right hand remains bandaged, but he works efficiently despite the injury. He freezes when he sees me watching. "Ms. Vale," he says formally. "Mr. Cruz," I reply. "A word, please." He follows me into my office, keeping the door open. His caution irritates me. "You refuse the compensation," I say. "Yes." "Why?" His eyes meet mine, defiant. "I don't need your money." "It's not about need," I say. "It's about fairness. You were injured saving Vale property." "Saving you," he corrects. "The property was already destroyed." The distinction surprises me. "Either way, you deserve compensation." "I did what anyone would do," he says. "That's not true," I say. "Most people ran out. You ran in." He shrugs, the movement causing him to wince slightly. "I'm not most people." "No," I agree. "You're not. You're a former Marine with extensive training in security systems and mechanical engineering, yet you're working as a janitor in the building that's experiencing security breaches." His expression hardens. "You investigated me." "Of course I did," I say. "I investigate everyone in my building." "And what did you find?" he asks, voice dangerously quiet. "That you're overqualified for your position," I say. "That you have the skills to orchestrate the very incidents you've been present for." His eyes flash with anger. "You think I'm responsible for the attacks?" "Are you?" I challenge. He steps closer, voice low. "I clean floors for a living because it lets me take care of my daughter. I could make more elsewhere, but those jobs don't let me pick her up from school or be home when she needs me." "That doesn't answer my question," I say. "I didn't sabotage your company," he says flatly. "I have no reason to." "Everyone has their price," I say. His laugh is bitter. "That's where you're wrong, Ms. Vale. Not everyone can be bought." The words cut deeper than they should. Is that really how I see the world? Everyone with a price tag? "Then why are you here?" I ask. "With your qualifications, you could work anywhere." Something flickers across his face. Uncertainty, perhaps even vulnerability. The hours suit my situation. Sophia needs me. It's true, but incomplete. I sense he's holding something back. "Where is she tonight?" I ask. "With my neighbor," he says. "After yesterday, I thought it best she stay home." The mention of yesterday's events reminds me of his injuries. "How's your hand?" He flexes it slightly. "It'll heal." I step closer, examining the bandage. "You should change that dressing." "I will, after my shift." Our eyes meet. Standing this close, I notice flecks of amber in his dark irises. His gaze drops to my lips for just a moment before he steps back. "Is that all, Ms. Vale?" he asks, voice rough. "No," I say. "I have a proposal." His expression grows wary. "What kind of proposal?" "Security consultant," I say. "Vale Innovations needs someone with your background to review our systems. Find the vulnerabilities before they can be exploited again." He shakes his head. "I'm not interested." "The pay is triple what you make now," I say, "with flexible hours. You could still be there for Sophia." "Why me?" he asks. "You have an entire security department." "Someone inside is working against me," I say. "I need an outsider I can trust." "You don't trust me," he points out. "You just accused me of sabotage." "I'm still deciding," I admit. "This gives you a chance to prove yourself." He studies me, expression unreadable. "I'll think about it," is not the answer I expected. "Don't think too long. The offer expires in 24 hours. He nods and moves toward the door. "Good night, Ms. Vale." "Elena," I say suddenly. "If we're going to work together, you should call me Elena." He pauses, looking back at me. "I haven't accepted the job." "But you will," I say with more confidence than I feel. A ghost of a smile touches his lips. "Good night, Elena." He leaves me standing in my office, heart beating faster than it should. I've either invited a saboteur into my inner circle or found my strongest ally. Either way, Rafael Cruz has become essential to solving the mystery threatening everything I've built, and that makes him dangerous in ways I'm not prepared to examine. The security team confirms what I already knew. The fire was deliberate. The cameras near the server room mysteriously malfunctioned minutes before the fire started. Someone inside Vale Innovations wants to destroy me. I spend the morning reviewing employee access records. Over 300 people had the necessary clearance to enter the server room. The list feels impossible to narrow down. Clara enters with coffee and a pointed look at the clock. "You've been here all night?" I accept the cup gratefully. I needed to think. "About Rafael Cruz?" she asks. I glare at her. "About the investigation?" "Of course," she says, not believing me. "The board dinner is tonight. You should go home and rest beforehand." "I don't have time," I say. "Make time," she insists. "The board is looking for any excuse to question your leadership. Appearing exhausted won't help." She's right, as usual. I gather my things and head home, though rest is the last thing on my mind. My penthouse feels emptier than usual. I stand under the shower, letting hot water sluice over tense muscles. Cruz's words echo in my mind. Not everyone can be bought. It's a foreign concept in my world. Everything and everyone has a price. That's how business works. That's how my father taught me to survive. But what if he's wrong? What if Cruz is right? I dress carefully for the dinner, choosing a burgundy dress that projects authority without aggression. The board responds better when I remind them I'm a woman, without flaunting it. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "I accept your offer. RC." My pulse quickens. Cruz has decided to work with me. I send a simple reply. "Report to my office tomorrow, 9 a.m. The board dinner proceeds as expected. I present our recovery plan, emphasizing the new security measures without mentioning Cruz specifically. Chairman Brookfield remains skeptical, but less openly hostile. The Cameron project was insured, I remind them. The financial impact will be minimal. "It's not about money," Brookfield says. "It's about confidence. 2 breaches in 1 week suggest systemic problems." "Problems I'm addressing," I say firmly. "The situation is under control." The dinner ends with tentative support, conditional on no further incidents. I've bought myself time, nothing more. I return to the office despite the late hour. The security guard raises an eyebrow but says nothing. I've been working nights long enough that my presence is expected. The familiar squeak of wheels alerts me to Cruz's presence before he appears in my doorway. He's earlier than usual, barely past 9. "You're still here," he says, sounding unsurprised. "So are you," I reply. He shrugs. "I'm always here." "Why did you accept my offer?" I ask directly. He leans against the door frame. "Triple pay is persuasive." "You said you couldn't be bought," I remind him. "This isn't buying me," he says. "It's hiring my skills." I gesture for him to enter. He does, closing the door behind him. The action feels significant somehow. "Where's Sophia tonight?" I ask. "With my neighbor again," he says, "until I figure out a better arrangement." I nod. "We'll adjust your schedule to accommodate her needs." He studies me. "Why did you offer me this job, really?" "I told you the truth," he interrupts, "not the corporate line." I consider lying, maintaining the professional distance I keep with everyone. Instead, I find myself saying, "Because you pulled me from that fire without hesitation. Because you refused payment for it. Because your daughter saw something in me that no one else bothers to see." His expression softens slightly. "And what did she see?" "Sadness," I admit. "Loneliness." The words hang between us, too honest for comfort. I turn away, moving to the window. I need someone who sees clearly, I continue more professionally. Someone outside the company politics who can identify what I'm missing. And you think that's me? He asks. I think it might be, I say. We'll see. Heavy footsteps approach from the hallway. The doctor opens without a knock. Only one person enters my office that way. Elena, Marcus says, smile perfect as always. Working late again? My half-brother stands in the doorway, blonde hair artfully tousled, designer suit impeccable. His gaze shifts to Cruz, smile dimming slightly. Sorry to interrupt, he says, not sounding sorry at all. Marcus, I say, this is Rafael Cruz, our new security consultant. Marcus extends his hand. Marcus Vale, Elena's brother and CFO. Half-brother, I correct automatically. Cruz shakes Marcus's hand briefly. Mr. Vale. You're the janitor who saved my sister, Marcus says. Now you're security? Quite the promotion. The condescension in his tone makes my jaw tighten. Mr. Cruz has extensive military background in security systems. He's uniquely qualified to help us identify the vulnerabilities being exploited. Marcus raises an eyebrow. I see. Well, I'm sure you know what you're doing. He doesn't believe it. I can see the calculation behind his eyes, the same look he had when our father passed, when he expected to inherit control of the company. Did you need something, Marcus? I ask. Just checking on you, he says smoothly. The board mentioned concerns after dinner. I wanted to see how you're holding up. I'm fine, I say. The situation is under control. Of course it is, he says. But Elena, maybe you should consider stepping back temporarily, for optics. My blood runs cold. Excuse me. The board would respond well to a show of accountability, he says. A temporary leave while we sort this out. I could step in as interim CEO and never step out. I know exactly what he's suggesting. That won't be necessary, I say, voice hard. I have the board's support. For now, he says. But another incident. The threat hangs unspoken. Is Marcus behind the attacks? Is this his play for control? There won't be another incident, I say confidently. Mr. Cruz will ensure that. Marcus glances at Cruz, assessing. No pressure, janitor. Cruz's expression remains neutral, but I see his hand tighten at his side. Security consultant. Marcus smiles without warmth. Of course. Well, I should let you get back to work. Elena, call me if you need anything. He leaves, closing the door behind him with deliberate softness. The silence stretches between Cruz and me. That's your brother? Cruz finally asks. Half-brother, I correct again. Same father, different mothers. He wants your job, Cruz observes. He's always wanted my job, I say. My father chose me to lead the company. Marcus never accepted that. Cruz watches me carefully. You think he's behind the attacks? I don't know, I admit. But the timing of his suggestion is suspicious. Family betrayal, Cruz says quietly. That's a special kind of pain. Something in his tone suggests personal experience. I want to ask, but sense it's not the time. We start tomorrow, I say instead. 9 a.m. He nods, moving toward the door. One question. Yes? If your brother is a suspect, why are you alone in this building at night? The question stuns me. I haven't considered my own safety beyond the abstract. I have security, I say. Downstairs, he points out. Not up here with you. He's right. I'm vulnerable, especially at night. What do you suggest? Don't work so late, he says simply. Or if you must, have someone you trust nearby. Is that an offer? I ask. His eyes meet mine. Maybe it is. Something shifts between us. Not quite trust, but it's possibility. He nods once and leaves, the door closing quietly behind him. I turn back to the window, watching the city lights. For the first time since the attacks began, I feel something besides fear and anger, something dangerous, yet strangely comforting. Hope. Morning brings a new dynamic. Cruz arrives precisely at 9, dressed in dark slacks and a gray button-down rather than his janitor's uniform. The change transforms him from staff to equal. I feel other employees watching as I lead him to my office. We'll start with access points, I say. Every entrance, every server connection. He nods, professional and focused. I'll need complete system schematics and security protocols. Clara will provide everything, I say, but some information remains between us only. You don't trust your own team, he observes. I can't, I admit. Not until we identify the threat. We spend the morning reviewing building blueprints. Cruz's military training shows in his methodical approach, identifying vulnerabilities I never considered. Your server room ventilation connects directly to the main system, he says. Someone could introduce smoke without entering the room. I lean closer, studying the schematics. That's how they staged the fire. Possibly, he agrees. We should check the ducts for residue. His proximity disrupts my concentration. He smells of soap and coffee, nothing fancy, yet distinctly masculine. I step back, maintaining professional distance. I'll have maintenance check immediately, I say. Cruz continues his assessment throughout the day. I watch him interact with my staff, respectful but direct, asking questions that reveal gaps in our security. By evening, he presents his initial findings. You have at least 7 critical vulnerabilities. Most concerning is your backup power system. What about it? I ask. It's accessible from the parking garage, he says. Anyone with building access could tamper with it. In fact, he trails off, eyes narrowing at something in his notes. What is it? I press. The night of the server fire, he says slowly. The fire suppression system activated late. If the power supply was tampered with first, it would explain the delay. My pulse quickens. You think they sabotaged the power before starting the fire? He nods. Professional approach. Disable safety measures, then create the emergency. How do we prevent it? I ask. We don't announce our countermeasures, and he says, we let them. Think their methods still work while setting traps. His strategy sounds military and effective. Set the traps. He holds my gaze. I'll need after-hours access, complete freedom to move throughout the building. You'll have it, I say without hesitation. His eyebrows rise slightly. You trust me that quickly? No, I admit, but I'm running out of options. A ghost of a smile touches his lips. At least you're honest. The day ends with Cruz installing additional monitoring equipment around the building. I watch him work, impressed by his efficiency and focus. Where's Sophia tonight? I ask as he tests a sensor. With my sister, he says. She came up from Indianapolis to help. You have family there? He nods. My sister and her husband. They want me to move back, but Chicago is home. I finish. Something shifts in his expression. Surprise at my understanding. Yes. Clara interrupts with dinner delivered to my office. You need to eat, Elena. She glances at Cruz, a question in her eyes. I nod. For Mr. Cruz as well. She arranges the food and leaves us alone. Cruz eyes the spread uncomfortably. Join me, I say. We need to discuss overnight monitoring. He sits reluctantly. We eat in silence for several minutes, the formality between us stifling. Your sister, I say finally. Is she older or younger? Younger, he says. By 3 years. You're close. He nods. Since our parents died, she's all I had until Sophia, I finish. And Maria, he adds quietly. My wife. I want to ask about her, about what happened. but his expression warns against it. Instead, I say, Sophia mentioned you were a mechanic. In the Marines, he confirms. Then at Chicago Memorial, I specialized in emergency vehicle maintenance. Why leave that for janitorial work? I ask. His jaw tightens. Budget cuts. The hospital outsourced maintenance. I needed steady work with flexible hours. For Sophia, I say. Everything I do is for her, he says simply. The conviction in his voice touches something in me. What would it be like to be the focus of such devotion? You should bring her tomorrow, I say. After school, we can set up a space for her in my office. He studies me, suspicion returning. Why? Because she shouldn't spend her evenings with neighbors and relatives, I say. Because she likes to draw here. Because I miss her, though I don't say this aloud. He considers my offer. I'll think about it. We finish eating. Cruz returns to his work, while I review reports from the day. Around 10, most employees have left. The building quiets to its nighttime rhythm. I find Cruz in the electrical room, examining the fuse box. His sleeves are rolled up, revealing strong forearms and the edge of his tattoo. He doesn't hear me approach, absorbed in his task. Find anything? I ask. He startles slightly. Sloppy work. Meaning? He points to exposed wiring. This was deliberately miswired. It creates intermittent power, fluctuations, enough to disrupt security systems without triggering alarms. Can you fix it? I ask. Already did, he says, but there will be others. He reaches up to replace the panel, wincing as his injured hand takes weight. The bandage looks soiled, fraying at the edges. Your hand, I say. You haven't changed that dressing. He glances at it dismissively. I'll get to it. Now, I insist. Infection risks aren't negotiable. He looks ready to argue, then sighs. Fine. First aid kit? My office, I say. Come on. He follows reluctantly. In my office, I retrieve the extensive first aid kit I keep for emergencies. He reaches for it, but I shake my head. Sit, I command. I'll do it. He raises an eyebrow but complies, sitting on the couch where Sophia sat days ago. I take his hand, unwrapping the soiled bandage carefully. The burn looks angry, blistered across his palm. This needs medical attention, I say. It's fine, he insists. It's not fine, I counter. It's infected. I clean the wound gently. He watches me work, expression unreadable. His hand feels calloused and strong despite the injury. Why are you doing this? He asks quietly. You were injured saving my servers, I say. Saving you, he corrects again. Our eyes meet. Something electric passes between us. I look away first, focusing on applying antibiotic ointment. Either way, I say, I owe you proper care. You don't owe me anything, he says. I wrap fresh gauze around his palm. We'll disagree on that. His fingers curl slightly around mine as I secure the bandage. The contact lasts only seconds before he withdraws his hand. Thank you, he says, voice rough. I nod, gathering the supplies. You should have the company doctor check it tomorrow. Elena, he says, stopping me. The person who did this, they're not finished. I meet his gaze. I know. They'll come after you directly next time, he warns. Not just the company. Why are you so certain, I ask. Because that's what I would do, he says. Destroy what matters most before destroying the person. The cold assessment makes me shiver. And what matters most to me? Your father's legacy, he says without hesitation. The Cameron Project. He's right. It's exactly what someone would target to hurt me most deeply. They've already damaged it, I say. What more can they do? Find what remains, he says. Finish the job. I think of the backup files, secured in my private safe. Only 3 people know they exist: me, Clara, and Marcus. If one of them is the saboteur, I need you to guard something, I say suddenly. What? The remaining Cameron files, I say. I have backups, not complete, but enough to rebuild from. His eyes widen slightly. Where are they? My safe, I say. But they're not safe there anymore. He nods, understanding immediately. Who knows about them? Clara and Marcus, I admit. No one else. And you trust Clara? He asks. With my life, I say without hesitation. For a decade she's been loyal. And Marcus? I hesitate. He's family, but family can hurt you worse than anyone, he finishes. Something in his tone suggests personal experience again. I want to ask, but he's already standing. Show me these files, he says. We'll move them tonight. I cross to my painting of the Chicago skyline, swinging it aside to reveal the safe. Cruz watches as I enter the combination. The safe opens with a soft click. Inside lies a single flash drive, my father's legacy distilled to one small device. I remove it carefully. Everything that remains of the Cameron project, Umpang, the neural interface that would have revolutionized medical technology. Cruz looks at the drive. Small thing to cause so much trouble. Small things often do, I say. I hand him the drive. His fingers brush mine, warm and rough. Guard it well. He pockets it with a nod. No one will find it. Not even me, I say. I don't want to know where you hide it. He studies me. You really trust me with this? I'm trusting you with everything, I say honestly. Something shifts in his expression. Respect, perhaps even admiration. I won't let you down. The promise feels weightier than the situation warrants. We stand close, the air between us charged with something beyond professional alliance. The moment breaks when his phone buzzes. He checks it, frowning. My sister. Sophia won't sleep. Go, I say. We'll continue tomorrow. He nods, already heading for the door. Lock your office when you leave. Don't stay late. I smile at his concern. I'll be fine. I mean it, Elena, he says, voice serious. Something's coming. I can feel it. The warning chills me. What should I do? Be vigilant, he says. Trust no one. Not even you? I ask. He holds my gaze. Especially not me. Not until I've earned it. Then he's gone. Footsteps fading down the corridor. I stand alone in my office. The empty safe a reminder of the risk I've just taken. I've given a virtual stranger the keys to my kingdom. If I'm wrong about Cruz, I've just handed my enemy the final piece they need to destroy me completely. But as I remember his face when he spoke of Sophia, the way he pulled me from the fire without hesitation, I feel something unexpected. I feel trust beginning to form. 3 days pass without incident. Cruz implements security upgrades across the building while I manage the board's concerns. His presence becomes a constant, reassuring despite my lingering doubts. The maintenance team found residue in the ventilation system, he reports. Accelerant, just as we suspected. I nod, studying the building schematics spread across my desk. How did they access it? Service entrance on the east side, he says. The security camera has a 7-second loop in its recording, almost undetectable. Almost, he allows a small smile. I've seen this technique before. Military application. My blood chills. You think it's someone with your background? Or someone who hired that expertise, he says. Either way, they're professionals. The implication hangs between us. Not a disgruntled employee, but something more dangerous. The board meeting is tomorrow, I say. I need answers before then. We're close, he promises. I've installed new monitors that don't appear on the building system. If anyone tries the same approach, we'll catch them. His confidence reassures me. Over these days, Something has shifted between us. Not quite friendship, not quite more. A partnership born of shared danger. Sophia's drawings, I say, changing subjects. She's been working on something for days but won't let me see it. Cruz's expression softens at his daughter's name. She's secretive about special projects. Following my suggestion, he's brought Sophia to the office after school each day. She occupies a corner of my office, drawing quietly while we work. Her presence brings unexpected lightness to the space. Is she adjusting okay? I ask. To being here? He nods. She likes it, especially your company. The admission pleases me more than it should. She's welcome any time. My phone buzzes. Clara with the quarterly reports I requested. I should get back to work. Cruz nods, moving toward the door. I'll check the parking level sensors. He leaves, and I return to the financial statements. Something nags at my attention, a discrepancy in research funding allocations. I dig deeper, comparing previous quarters, small amounts redirected from multiple projects, all flowing into an account number I don't recognize. The individual transfers are too small to trigger alerts, but together they total millions. Someone has been siphoning research funds for over a year. I cross-reference the account information. It leads to an offshore holding company. Ownership, hidden behind layers of corporate shields. Professional work. The phone on my desk rings, the direct security line. I answer immediately. Ms. Vale, the head of security, says, "There's been an incident in the parking garage, level B2. My pulse quickens. What kind of incident? Fire alarm triggered, he says. Sprinklers activated. We're investigating. Where's Mr. Cruz? I ask. Unknown, he says. We're searching now. I hang up and rush to the elevator. Cruz mentioned checking the parking sensors. If this is another attack, if he's in danger. The elevator seems painfully slow. When it finally opens on B2, water sprays from ceiling sprinklers. Emergency lights cast eerie red glow across puddles forming on concrete. Mr. Cruz, I call out, moving carefully through the water. No answer. I make my way deeper into the garage, past rows of employee vehicles. The sprinklers create a curtain of water, limiting visibility. A sound draws my attention, coughing. I follow it to find Cruz kneeling beside an electrical panel, tools scattered around him. Rafe, I call, using his first name without thinking. He looks up, water streaming down his face. Stay back, he warns. The panel's live. I stop. What happened? Someone rigged it, he says. Timer set to short the system at 5:30. Most employees would be leaving then. The implication horrifies me. They're targeting people now, not just systems? He nods grimly. Escalation, just like I warned. Security personnel arrive, followed by the fire department. Cruz explains the situation while technicians secure the electrical systems. Everyone needs to evacuate, the fire chief orders, the whole building, until we verify all systems. I begin coordinating with security when a terrified thought strikes me. Sophia, I say, turning to Cruz. Where's Sophia? His face pales. In your office, drawing. We race back to the elevator, but emergency protocols have shut it down. We take the stairs. Cruz 2 steps ahead of me despite his injured hand. She knows to leave during an alarm, he says, voice tight with worry. She knows the procedure. But a 7-year-old alone in a 30-story building during an evacuation. The thought spurs me faster up the stairs. We reach the executive floor, breathless. The sprinklers haven't activated here, but emergency lights flash. The floor appears empty. Sophia, Cruz calls, heading straight for my office. I follow, heart pounding. My office stands empty, Sophia's drawing supplies abandoned on the couch. Cruz's face transforms with fear. She must have evacuated, I say. Security would have... A small sound interrupts me, a sniffle from beneath my desk. Cruz drops to his knees, looking underneath. Mija, he breathes, relief flooding his voice. Sophia huddles beneath the desk, arms wrapped around her knees, tears streaking her cheeks. Daddy? Cruz reaches for her. Come here, baby, it's okay. She crawls out and launches into his arms. He holds her tightly, eyes closed in relief. I got scared, she sobs. The lights were flashing and everyone was running. You're safe now, he murmurs. I've got you. I watch their reunion, a strange ache in my chest. No one has ever worried about me that way. No one has ever held me with such desperate relief. We need to evacuate, I remind them gently. The whole building. Cruz stands with Sophia in his arms. She clings to him, face buried in his neck. Let's go. We make our way downstairs, joining hundreds of employees gathered in the plaza outside. Fire trucks surround the building, hoses connected to hydrants as a precaution. I begin coordinating with department heads, ensuring all employees are accounted for. Crisis management mode, something I excel at, keeps me from dwelling on the sight of Cruz holding his daughter, from the hollow ache it created inside me. The fire chief approaches after nearly an hour. The building's clear. Electrical system on B2 was deliberately tampered with. Casualties? I ask. Minor injuries only, he says. 2 employees with cuts from falling in the water. I exhale in relief. When can we re-enter? Not tonight, he says firmly. Systems need thorough checking, tomorrow at earliest. I nod, already calculating the impact on operations. Thank you, Chief. He moves on to consult with his team. I turn to find Cruz standing nearby, Sophia still in his arms, though she's calmer now. She okay? I ask. He nods, scared but unharmed. Everyone's been evacuated safely, I tell him. Just minor injuries. This time, he says grimly, they're escalating, Elena. Next time will be worse. I know he's right. The attacks are growing bolder, more dangerous. What began as data theft has progressed to physical sabotage. We should discuss next steps, I say. My place, since we can't access the building. He shakes his head. Not your penthouse. Too exposed. Then where? He hesitates, then says, my apartment. It's not much, but it's secure. The offer surprises me. Cruz has maintained strict boundaries between his work and personal life. Are you sure? I ask. He nods. We can't talk here. Too many ears. I glance around at the gathered employees, aware of watching eyes. Marcus stands with the board members, his expression concerned as he speaks to Chairman Brookfield. Okay, I say. Your place. Cruz gives me the address. Give me an hour to get Sophia settled. I nod, watching as he carries his daughter toward the employee parking area. Something about his protectiveness, his complete devotion to her safety, touches me deeply. I handle the remaining crisis management, instructing department heads on remote work protocols for tomorrow. Marcus approaches as the crowd thins. This is getting out of hand, Elena Twala, he says. The board is losing confidence. I'm handling it, I say. Are you? He challenges, because it looks like whoever's targeting the company is winning. I meet his gaze directly. Is that what you think, or what you hope? His expression hardens. Careful, sister. Paranoia isn't leadership. Neither is undermining, I counter. We stare at each other, the unspoken battle for our father's legacy hanging between us. Finally, he steps back. The board wants solutions, he says, not accusations. They'll have them, I promise. Tomorrow's meeting will proceed as scheduled. He nods and walks away. I watch him go, wondering if my own brother could betray me so completely. An hour later, I park outside Cruz's apartment building in the South Side. The neighborhood isn't dangerous, but it's worlds away from my luxury penthouse. The 6-story brick building has seen better days, but it's clean and well-maintained. I find his unit on the 4th floor and knock softly. The door opens to reveal Cruz, changed from his work clothes into jeans and a simple gray t-shirt. The casual attire transforms him from security consultant to simply a man, a very attractive one. "Come in," he says, stepping aside. The apartment surprises me. Though small, it's warm and inviting. Bookshelves line one wall, filled with engineering manuals and children's stories. A comfortable couch faces a modest television. The kitchen is tiny but spotless. What strikes me most are Sophia's drawings, framed on walls, taped to the refrigerator, everywhere I look. This home celebrates her talent, her presence. "It's not much," Cruz says, watching my reaction. "It's lovely," I say honestly. "Very much a home." Something shifts in his expression. Surprise, perhaps even appreciation. "Sophia's sleeping," he says quietly. The excitement wore her out. I nod, noticing a half-open door where I glimpse a small bed with a colorful quilt. "Can I get you anything?" he asks. "Coffee? Water?" "Coffee would be great," I say. He moves to the kitchen while I continue looking around. Photos on a shelf catch my attention. Cruz in military uniform, younger and less guarded. Beside it, a wedding photo. His wife was beautiful, dark hair and bright smile, looking at him with obvious adoration. "That's Maria," Cruz says, returning with 2 mugs. 3 years ago. I accept the coffee. "She was lovely." "Yes," he says simply. "She was." Sophia has her smile, I observe. Something softens in his expression. And her spirit. We sit on the couch, a careful distance between us. The intimacy of his home makes our professional relationship suddenly complicated. The attacks are escalating, I say, returning to safer ground. First data, then servers, now electrical systems. He nods. They're methodical, professional. "You said military technique," I remind him. "Could it be someone you know?" He considers this. Possibly. But these methods aren't exclusive to any one group. "What's the end game?" I ask. "Destroy the company? Or force leadership change?" he says carefully. "The timing of your brother's suggestion seems convenient. The implication angers me, though I've had the same thought. Marcus is ambitious, but this level of sabotage— "Family can surprise you," he says, voice suddenly hard. I study him. "You speak from experience." He takes a long sip of coffee before answering. "My wife's brother," he says finally. "He borrowed money from people you don't borrow from." My chest tightens with sudden understanding. "The people who killed her." Cruz nods, eyes distant with painful memory. "They came looking for him, found her instead." "I'm sorry," I whisper. "Family betrayal," he says. "It destroys more than trust." The raw pain in his voice silences me. We sit quietly, his grief filling the space between us. "What happened to her brother?" I finally ask. "Disappeared," Cruz says flatly. "Never even came to her funeral." The abandonment in that statement echoes my own experience. My mother never looked back either. "My mother left when I was 6, I say, offering my own pain in exchange. No goodbye, no explanation. He meets my gaze, recognition of shared wounds passing between us. "That stays with you." "Yes," I agree. "It does." Another silence, less uncomfortable now. Shared pain creates its own intimacy. "The Cameron Project," I say finally. "It was my father's last gift to me. His legacy." "What exactly was it?" Cruz asks. I hesitate, then decide to trust him. "Neural interface technology." a way to connect human brain function directly to prosthetics. His eyes widen slightly. That's revolutionary, I finish. It would change millions of lives. Veterans with lost limbs, children with congenital conditions, accident victims. And worth billions, he adds. I nod. That too. No wonder someone wants it, he says. The question is whether they want to steal it or destroy it. Either way, I can't let them succeed, I say. I promised my father. Cruz studies me, something new in his expression. This isn't just about the company for you. No, I admit. It's about keeping my word to the only person who never abandoned me. The confession hangs between us, more revealing than I intended. Cruz reaches across the space, his hand covering mine briefly. We'll stop them, he promises. The touch lasts only seconds, but warmth spreads through me. His eyes hold mine, something unspoken passing between us. A small sound breaks the moment. Sophia appears in her doorway, rubbing her eyes sleepily. "Daddy," she calls. "I had a bad dream." Cruz is immediately on his feet, crossing to his daughter. "It's okay, Mika. I'm here." He lifts her easily, and her small arms wrap around his neck. She spots me over his shoulder. "Miss Vale," she says, confused by my presence. "Hello, Sophia Seber," I say softly. "Your dad and I were talking about work." She yawns, laying her head on Cruz's shoulder. "Did you see my new drawings?" "Not yet," I say. "Maybe tomorrow." Cruz holds her close. "Back to bed now, pequeña. It's late." "Will you stay?" she asks him. "Right here," he promises. "No more bad dreams." He carries her back to her room, voice low as he comforts her. I stand, gathering my purse. This glimpse into their private world feels too intimate, a privilege I haven't earned. When Cruz returns, I'm already by the door. "I should go," I say. "It's late." He nods, though something in his expression suggests he might have asked me to stay if circumstances were different. "Tomorrow," he says. "The board meeting." 9 a.m., I confirm. "We'll present our findings." He opens the door for me. "Be careful going home. Take the main streets." His concern warms me. I will. I step into the hallway, turning back to face him. "Thank you, Rafe, for everything." His name feels right on my lips. He notices the change, a slight smile touching his mouth. "Sleep well, Elena," he says softly. The door closes between us. I stand there a moment longer, thinking of his hand on mine, of Sophia's arms around his neck, of the home they've created together. For the first time in years, I feel the emptiness of my own life, the penthouse that never became a home, the success that never brought connection. I drive back to my building, thoughts swirling. Tomorrow's board meeting looms, with Marcus's ambition and the board's doubts waiting for me. But as I ride the elevator to my penthouse, I feel strangely hopeful. Not because the danger has passed, it hasn't. Not because I have all the answers, I don't. Because for the first time since my father died, I'm not facing the threat alone. The board meeting starts precisely at 9. I stand before them in my strongest suit, presenting our findings on the security breaches. Cruz stands beside me, professional and composed. The attacks show clear pattern and escalation, I explain. Data theft, followed by server destruction, culminating in electrical tampering. Chairman Brookfield frowns. "And your solution?" "We've implemented enhanced security protocols," I say. "Mr. Cruz has installed independent monitoring systems that aren't connected to our main network." Cruz steps forward. "The saboteur is using our own systems against us," he explains. "By creating parallel security measures, we can catch them in the act." The board members exchange glances. Marcus sits at the far end, expression carefully neutral. "And who is responsible?" Brookfield asks. We have leads, I say cautiously, but no definitive proof yet. Leads aren't enough, Marcus interjects. The company needs certainty. I meet his gaze steadily. Certainty comes after evidence. We're gathering it methodically. The meeting continues with pointed questions. I deflect and reassure, promising results without revealing our suspicions. Cruz remains mostly silent, watching the dynamics carefully. After 2 tense hours, the board grants us 1 week to identify the saboteur. 1 week before they reconsider leadership. Marcus smiles subtly at the deadline. Your brother enjoyed that, Cruz observes as we leave the boardroom. The deadline. He's always enjoyed watching me struggle, I say. We return to my office where Clara waits with new information. The account we tracked, she says. It links back to a shell company in the Caymans. Can we identify the owner? I ask. She shakes her head. Multiple layers of protection. Keep digging, I say. And Clara, be careful who you share this with. She gives me a long look. Always Elena. After she leaves, Cruz turns to me. We need to move faster, Hisosa, he says. The attacks will continue. I know, I say. But we need proof before accusing anyone, especially if it's Marcus. Cruz nods, expression troubled. There's something else, he says. The parking garage incident. It was a warning. To whom? I ask. You, he says simply. They could have caused far more damage but didn't. They're sending a message. The implication chills me, that they can reach me anywhere in this building. Yes, he agrees. You're not safe here. I laugh without humor. I'm not safe anywhere. He studies me, decision forming behind his eyes. You need security, not just systems, personnel. I have bodyguards, I say, who report through channels that might be compromised, he points out. He's right, and we both know it. If Marcus is behind the attacks, he has access to security personnel assignments, building protocols, everything. What do you suggest? I ask. Move somewhere unexpected, he says, somewhere with reliable security. A hotel, I suggest. He shakes his head. Too public, too many access points. Then where? He hesitates, then says, the executive suite on 30. It was designed as a secure residence, limited access, private elevator, independent systems. My father's old apartment, I say, surprise coloring my voice. I haven't used it since he died. The suite remains preserved, a mausoleum to his memory that I've avoided for 3 years. It's the most secure location in the building, Cruz says, and the last place anyone would expect you to stay. He's right, but the thought of sleeping in my father's space fills me with unease. Still, safety must come first. I'll arrange it, I say. Cruz nods, then adds, you'll need close protection. Meaning? Someone with you constantly, he says, someone you trust. Our eyes meet, the implication clear. You? Yes, he says simply. You have Sophia, I remind him. His expression turns troubled. The attacks are escalating. Sophia isn't safe at our apartment anymore, not if they connect me to you. The thought of endangering his daughter horrifies me. What are you saying? We need a secure location for both of us, he says, somewhere they can't reach either of us. Understanding dawns. You want to move into the executive suite too. He nods, professional rather than presumptuous. Adjacent rooms, separate spaces. I provide security. Sophia stays safe. The arrangement makes practical sense, yet feels intensely personal. Cruz and his daughter living in my space, breaking the isolation I've maintained for years. The suite has 3 bedrooms, I say finally. More than enough space. Relief crosses his face. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, I warn. Living with me isn't easy. A ghost of a smile touches his lips. I can imagine. We make arrangements immediately. By evening, I've moved essential items from my penthouse to the executive suite. Cruz collects Sophia and their belongings from his apartment. The suite feels strange after years of emptiness. My father's presence lingers in the furnishings he chose, the art he collected. I stand in his study, memories washing over me. Ms. Vale? Sophia's voice pulls me from reverie. Is this our new house? I turn to find her in the doorway, clutching her sketchbook. Just temporarily, I explain, until the bad people go away. Her eyes widen. There are bad people? I mentally curse my carelessness. Just some people making trouble at work, I amend. Nothing for you to worry about. Cruz appears behind her. Mija, remember what we discussed? This is just for a little while. She nods solemnly, like camping, but inside. Exactly, he says, ruffling her hair affectionately. He meets my gaze over her head, gratitude and determination mingling in his expression. I've checked the security systems. They're independent from the main building controls. Good, I say. Clara will bring the remaining files tomorrow. Sophia explores the suite, while Cruz and I discuss security protocols. Her exclamations of delight echo from different rooms. Daddy, there's a TV in my room, and the bathtub has bubbles. Cruz smiles apologetically. She's never seen anything like this. It's fine, I say. Let her enjoy it. Evening settles around us, creating an odd domestic tableau. Cruz prepares a simple dinner in the kitchen while Sophia draws at the dining table. I watch them, feeling like an outsider in my own space. Join us, Cruz says, noticing my hesitation. I sit beside Sophia, admiring her drawing of the city skyline. That's beautiful. Thanks, she says. I can see all the buildings from my new window. We eat together, conversation stilted at first, but easing as Sophia chatters about school. This simple family dinner feels foreign to me after years of solitary meals or business dinners. After dinner, Cruz helps Sophia prepare for bed. I retreat to my father's study, feeling intrusive on their nighttime routine. Through the open door, I hear Sophia's laughter as Cruz reads her a story. Later, he finds me in the study staring at my father's bookshelves. She's asleep, he says. I nod, not trusting my voice. Something about their bedtime ritual has disturbed me deeply. This was his space, Cruz observes, looking around the study. Yes, I say. I haven't changed anything. He studies the bookshelves, the engineering journals, the family photos. His gaze lingers on one of me as a child sitting on my father's lap. You look happy there, he says. I was, I admit. He made time for me, even with the company growing. That's rare, Cruz says. My father worked constantly, never saw him. This small shared confidence feels significant. My mother left when I was 6, I say. My father became everything to me. Cruz nods, understanding in his eyes. When did he die? 3 years ago, I say. Heart attack at his desk. I found him. The memory still haunts me. My father slumped over his keyboard, the project he'd been so excited about still glowing on his screen. I'm sorry, Cruz says softly. The Cameron project was his final work, I continue. He believed it would change millions of lives. And make billions for Vale Innovations, Cruz adds. I smile sadly. He cared more about the impact than the profit. He always did. Cruz moves closer, examining the engineering awards displayed on the wall. He sounds like a good man. The best, I agree. Marcus never understood him, never shared his vision. Half-brothers often don't, Cruz observes. Different mothers, different values, I say. Marcus comes from wealth and privilege. Everything came easily to him. Unlike you? Cruz asks, raising an eyebrow. I laugh without humor. My father made me earn everything, made me prove myself twice over because I was his daughter. He prepared you, Cruz says, made you strong. Our eyes meet, understanding passing between us. Yes, I admit, but sometimes I wonder at what cost. The moment stretches, intimate in its honesty. Finally, Cruz steps back. I should check the perimeter alarms, he says. Of course, I say, grateful for the return to practicality. He pauses at the door. Try to rest, Elena. Tomorrow will be challenging. I nod, watching him leave. His presence in my father's home should feel invasive, yet somehow it doesn't. Instead, it feels right, as if these spaces were meant for family, for life, not for preservation of memories. I move to my bedroom, not my father's, I couldn't bear that, and prepare for sleep. Through the wall, I hear Cruz moving in the adjacent room, his footsteps quiet but reassuring. For the first time since the attacks began, I feel safe enough to sleep deeply. And for the first time in years, I'm not completely alone. Morning brings strange domesticity. I wake to the smell of coffee and children's laughter. Disoriented, I follow the sounds to the kitchen where Cruz makes pancakes while Sophia arranges banana slices into faces on top. They both look up as I enter. Sophia beams. Ms. Vale, Daddy's making smiley pancakes. I see that, I say, unprepared for this cheerful family scene. They look delicious. Cruz offers me coffee without asking. Sleep okay? Better than expected, I admit, accepting the cup. Our fingers brush during the exchange. His eyes meet mine briefly before returning to the stove. Something shifts in the air between us, acknowledgement of our strange new arrangement. Clara called, he says. She's coming at 9 with the files. I nod, grateful for the return to business. The board expects daily updates. You should eat first, he says, sliding a plate toward me. Breakfast is important. The simple gesture, being fed, being cared for, catches me off guard. I can't remember the last time someone made me breakfast. Sophia chatters through the meal, seemingly untroubled by our unusual circumstances. Cruz responds to her with infinite patience, his attention divided between his daughter and security concerns. Will you be here when I get home from school? Sophia asks me. The question startles me. I'm not sure, I say honestly. I might be in meetings. Her face falls slightly. Oh, I wanted to show you my new drawings. I'll try to be here, I promise, surprising myself with the sincerity of my words. Cruz watches this exchange with guarded expression. Time for school, mija. Get your backpack. She scampers off to her room, leaving us alone in the kitchen. Cruz clears plates with efficient movements. I've arranged a driver I trust, he says. He'll take her to school and bring her back. Not you? I ask. He shakes his head. I need to stay with you. The words send unexpected warmth through me. I have meetings all day. Then I'll be in those meetings, he says simply. Well, people will talk, I warn. Let them, he says. Your safety matters more than gossip. His priorities align perfectly with mine, a rare experience that unsettles me. Most men in my life have hidden agendas. Cruz's directness feels refreshingly honest. Clara arrives precisely at 9, bringing files and updates. Her eyes take in the domestic scene with professional neutrality. The forensic accountants found something, she says, laying out financial records. The offshore transfers connect to another company, Meridian Technologies. The name means nothing to me. Competitors? Not exactly, she says. They're a military contractor specializing in neural interfaces. My blood runs cold. The same field as the Cameron project. Cruz leans forward, suddenly alert. Military applications? Clara nods. Primarily, their founder is ex-military. Name? Cruz asks. James Vickers, she says. Former Special Forces. Cruz's expression darkens. I know him. He served with Marcus's college roommate. The connection, however tenuous, sends ice through my veins. You think Marcus is selling my father's technology to Vickers? It fits, Clara says. The timeline of transfers corresponds to progress milestones on the Cameron project. My hands clench into fists. My own brother stealing our father's legacy for profit. The betrayal burns deeper than I expected. We need proof, Cruz says, voice hard. Concrete evidence linking Marcus to Meridian. I'm working on it, Clara assures us, but carefully. If Marcus suspects we're investigating him, the implication hangs in the air. If Marcus is behind the attacks and realizes we suspect him, he'll accelerate his plans. Keep digging, I say, and Clara, watch your back. She nods grimly. Always do. The day proceeds with meetings and damage control. Cruz remains by my side, a silent guardian whose presence both reassures and distracts me. I find myself hyper-aware of his movements, his proximity. Evening brings us back to the executive suite. Sophia greets us excitedly, eager to show her drawings from school. I listen with surprising interest as she explains each picture. This one's my favorite, she says, holding up a drawing of 3 figures. It's you and me and Daddy. I stare at the childish rendering of us as a unit, unsure how to respond. It's wonderful, I say finally. Cruz watches this exchange with complex emotions crossing his face. Time for homework, mija, he says gently. She sighs dramatically but complies, taking her schoolwork to the dining table. Cruz turns to me with an apologetic smile. She gets attached quickly, he says quietly. It's fine, I say, though we both know it's more complicated than that. After dinner, Cruz puts Sophia to bed, while I review financial records in the study. Hours pass as I search for connections between Marcus and Meridian Technologies. The suite quiets. I assume Cruz has gone to bed until movement on the balcony catches my eye. He stands against the railing, staring out at the city. I watch him through the glass door. His posture speaks of tension, of burdens carried too long alone. In the dim light, his profile looks carved from stone. Something draws me to him. I open the balcony door, the night air cool against my skin. Can't sleep? He glances over, not startled by my presence. Checking sight lines, he says. Old habits. I join him at the railing, maintaining professional distance. Find anything concerning? Several, he admits, but nothing immediate. We stand in silence, the city sprawling beneath us. The emptiness that usually haunts me feels less acute with him beside me. Thank you, I say suddenly, for staying, for protecting us. He turns to me, expression serious. It's my job now. Is that all it is? I ask, before I can stop myself. His eyes meet mine, something unspoken passing between us. You know it's not. My breath catches. The honesty in his voice, in his gaze, disarms me completely. Rafe, I begin, uncertain what I want to say. He steps back slightly, creating distance. We should get some rest, he says. Tomorrow will be challenging. I nod, disappointed yet relieved by his restraint. Whatever grows between us must wait until the danger passes. Good night, Elena, he says, his voice gentle. Good night, I reply, watching him return inside. I remain on the balcony, thoughts swirling. The complexity of our situation weighs heavily, professional boundaries blurring with personal connection, all against the backdrop of betrayal and danger. When I finally return inside, I pause outside Sophia's room. The door stands slightly ajar, light from the hallway spilling across her sleeping form. Beside her bed sits Cruz, watching his daughter sleep with such naked love that my chest aches at the sight. I retreat silently, the image burned into my mind. That devotion, that complete love, I've never experienced it, never witnessed it so purely. In my room, I lie awake for hours, listening to the quiet movements of crews checking security systems. His footsteps pass my door, pause briefly, then continue down the hall. I feel his protection surrounding me, yet it's his tenderness towards Sophia that truly breaks through my defenses. A man so gentle with his daughter, so fierce in his protection. The combination undoes me in ways I never expected. Sleep finally claims me, but my dreams are filled with family I never had, with connections I've always denied myself. Days blend together as we settle into unexpected routine. Cruz and I leave together each morning after Sophia goes to school. We return each evening to her excited greetings and drawings. The search for evidence against Marcus continues. Clara finds more connections between Vale Research Funds and Meridian Technologies, but nothing directly linking Marcus to the transactions. We need access to his personal accounts, Cruz says during our morning strategy session. Bank records, emails, phone logs. That requires warrants, I remind him. We don't have enough for law enforcement yet. He frowns, frustration evident. Then we need another approach. Before he can elaborate, his phone buzzes. He checks it, expression tightening. School nurse, he says. Sophia's running a fever. Concern flashes across his face. I need to get her. Go, I say immediately. Family comes first. He hesitates, torn between duties. Your security. I'll stay in the building, I promise. Clara will be with me constantly. He nods, already grabbing his jacket. I'll bring her back here. Call me if anything happens. I watch him leave, his devotion to Sophia yet again shifting something inside me. My own father prioritized me that way, the only person who ever did. The day progresses with meetings and strategy sessions. Without Cruz beside me, I feel strangely vulnerable, despite building security. Evening brings me back to the suite alone. I enter cautiously, then hear Sophia's voice from her bedroom. Following the sound, I find her propped up in bed, Cruz reading to her. He glances up at my appearance. Hey, he says softly. Hey, I reply. How's the patient? Sophia gives me a weak smile. I have a fever, she announces with childish pride in her ailment. I heard, I say, moving closer. Feeling any better? She nods. Daddy made soup and read me 3 stories. Cruz brushes hair from her forehead, checking her temperature with his hand. The tender gesture makes my chest tighten. 101.2, he says, down from earlier. Can I get you anything? I offer. More soup? Medicine? Sophia looks surprised by my offer, then pleased. Can I have juice? Of course, I say. In the kitchen, I find apple juice and pour a small glass. When I return, Cruz has resumed reading, Sophia nestled against his side. They create a perfect picture of family comfort. I hand Sophia the juice, careful not to disturb their position. Thank you, Miss Vale, she says politely. Elena, I correct gently. You can call me Elena. Her smile brightens despite her fever. Elena, she repeats, testing the name. Cruz watches this exchange, something unreadable passing behind his eyes. I leave them to their story, retreating to the living room with my laptop. Hours pass as I work through security reports and financial data. The sound of Cruz's voice reading to Sophia creates a soothing backdrop until it eventually stops. He joins me later, looking tired but less concerned. She's asleep, he says. Fever's dropping. Good, I say. Children recover quickly. He sits beside me on the couch, close enough for conversation but maintaining appropriate distance. Thank you for earlier, he says, for understanding. I nod, keeping my eyes on my laptop. She needs you more than I do. She loves you, you know, he says unexpectedly. She talks about you constantly. This admission startles me into meeting his gaze. She barely knows me. Children see clearly, he says. They recognize kindness. I laugh, softly. I'm not known for kindness, Rafe. Maybe not to the world, he agrees. But to her? To a child who lost her mother? You've been nothing but kind. His words touch something raw inside me. It's easy with her, I admit. She's special. Yes, he agrees, pride evident in his voice. She is. We sit in companionable silence, the shared care for Sophia creating new connection between us. I've been thinking, I say finally, about your position here. He raises an eyebrow. My position? Security consultant is temporary, I explain. You should consider something permanent, head of security for Vale Innovations. The offer hangs between us. Cruz studies me, expression cautious. Why? Because you're qualified, I say, because you've proven yourself trustworthy. And, he prompts. And Sophia deserves stability, I add honestly. A good school, opportunities. His expression hardens slightly. We don't need charity. It's not charity, I counter. It's recognition of your skills. The position pays extremely well, with full benefits. I'm not your bodyguard, he says firmly. I'm not asking you to be, I reply. I'm offering you a legitimate executive position based on your qualifications. He stands, creating distance between us. I won't be owned, Elena. The accusation stings. That's not what this is. Isn't it? He challenges. The fancy apartment, the job offer. It feels like golden handcuffs. Anger flares within me. I'm trying to help you and your daughter. We don't need help, he says. We were fine before you. Fine? I repeat incredulously. Living in that tiny apartment, working nights while she stays with neighbors. His eyes flash with anger. Don't judge what you don't understand. Then help me understand, I say, rising to face him. Why refuse a better life for your daughter? Because I won't trade my independence for security, he says. Not again. The cryptic statement hangs between us. What does that mean, I ask. He runs a hand through his hair, frustration evident. The military, the hospital. I followed orders, played by rules. When crises came, politics won over people. I won't put myself in that position again. I step closer. This would be different. How? He challenges. Because it would be with me, I say softly. His expression shifts, anger giving way to something more complex. That's what concerns me most. The admission hits harder than expected. I see. He sighs, regret crossing his features. Elena, what's happening between us complicates everything. Nothing is happening between us, I say automatically. His laugh holds no humor. We both know that's not true. The acknowledgement of our growing connection hangs in the air between us. I turn away, unwilling to face what neither of us is ready to name. The offer stands, I say stiffly. Think about it. His hand touches my shoulder, gentle but firm. I'm not refusing because of you, he says. I'm refusing because I need to be my own man. I turn back to him, understanding dawning. Your wife's death, I say quietly. You couldn't protect her. Pain flashes across his face. I wasn't there, he admits, working late at the hospital, following orders instead of instinct. And you've been trying to control everything since, I realize, to never fail anyone again. He doesn't deny it. Our eyes lock, recognition of shared wounds passing between us. I'll fix your door, he says suddenly. What? The hinge in your bedroom, he explains. It squeaks. I noticed it yesterday. The change of subject confuses me until I understand. This is his way of helping without accepting my help. His pride won't let him take the position, but his nature won't let him do nothing. Thank you, I say, accepting the compromise. He nods once, then moves toward the hallway. I should check on Sophia. I watch him go, frustration and admiration battling within me. His refusal of the position makes no practical sense, yet I respect the principles behind it. Later that night, I hear him outside my door, tools quiet as he adjusts the hinges. I don't acknowledge his presence, giving him the dignity of helping on his own terms. The door no longer squeaks when I close it. Small fix, meaningful gesture, lines drawn, pride maintained, connection deepened despite ourselves. Morning brings news from Clara. Internal investigation has uncovered more suspicious transfers. The pattern suggests long-term planning, systematic theft of intellectual property beyond just the Cameron project. Someone's been bleeding research from multiple departments, she explains during our secure call, for at least 2 years. Before my father died, I realize, stomach clenching. Yes, she confirms. The earliest transfers date back 3 years. The timeline aligns with my father's final projects. Someone began stealing his work while he was still alive. What departments? Cruz asks, listening beside me. Neural interface, biotech, advanced materials, Clara lists. All cutting-edge research with military applications. Cruz's expression darkens. Meridian specialties. Exactly, she agrees. The pattern is unmistakable. But still no direct link to Marcus, I say, frustration evident. Clara hesitates. There's one more thing. The transfers increased significantly after your father died. The implication hangs heavy. Someone took advantage of the transition period, the chaos of grief and succession. Someone who knew the company would be vulnerable, Cruz observes. Someone who expected to take control, I add, anger building. Marcus thought our father would choose him. Clara nods. The timing supports that theory. We end the call with plans to continue the investigation. Cruz watches me carefully as I process this new information. You okay? He asks. I laugh without humor. My brother may have been stealing from our father before he died. No, I'm not okay. His hand touches my shoulder briefly. We'll prove it. The stow and simple contact grounds me, pulls me back from spiraling anger. Yes, I agree. We will. Sophia remains home from school, her fever lingering. Cruz arranges for Clara to stay with her while we attend crucial meetings. You're sure you're comfortable leaving her? I ask as we prepare to leave. He nods, though concern shadows his eyes. Clara's trustworthy, and Sophia loves her. In the elevator, he stands closer than necessary, his presence a comfort I'm growing dependent on. She'll be fine, he reassures me. I know, I say. I just worry, he finishes. I understand. His understanding, his ability to read my unspoken thoughts, creates intimacy I haven't experienced with anyone else. The day progresses with meetings and security reviews. Cruz implements new protocols while I manage board concerns. We function as a seamless team, anticipating each other's needs and strategies. Evening approaches when my assistant announces an unexpected visitor. Your brother is here, Ms. Vale. Cruz and I exchange glances. Send him in, I say. Marcus enters with his usual confidence, designer suit impeccable. His smile falters slightly at seeing Cruz beside my desk. Elena, he greets. Still keeping the janitor close? Security consultant, Cruz corrects calmly. Marcus's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Of course. Moving up quickly, aren't you? Cruz doesn't respond to the bait, his expression professionally neutral. The tension between the men crackles in the air. "What do you need, Marcus?" I ask directly. "Just checking on progress," he says, settling into a chair uninvited. The board is growing impatient. "We've implemented new security measures," I say. "No incidents for 3 days." "Reassuring," he says insincerely. "But they want the culprit, not just containment." "We're pursuing several leads," I say carefully. His eyes sharpen with interest. "Anyone I know?" Cruz shifts slightly beside me, a subtle warning. I maintain a neutral expression. "Too early to say," I reply. Marcus studies me, then turns his attention to Cruz. "Where did Elena find you again? Cleaning floors, wasn't it?" "Saving her from a fire," Cruz corrects, "after someone tried to destroy company property." Marcus raises an eyebrow. Convenient timing. The implication hangs in the air, that Cruz might be involved somehow. I feel him tense beside me. "Mr. Cruz's background has been thoroughly vetted," I say firmly. "His military and technical credentials are exceptional." "I'm sure," Marcus says. "Special Forces, wasn't it?" Cruz shakes his head. "Marine Corps, Engineering Division." "Ah," Marcus says. "My mistake." But the question was deliberate. Fishing for information, testing Cruz's reaction. Marcus knows military structure well enough to know the difference. "Did you need something specific, Marcus?" I ask, steering the conversation away from Cruz. "Just information," he says smoothly. "The board dinner tomorrow night. They're expecting a breakthrough. They'll have, fun, I promise. Though we're still gathering evidence." "Good," he says, rising. "I'd hate to see a leadership change become necessary." The threat hangs thinly veiled. Cruz steps forward slightly, positioning himself between us. Marcus notices the movement, smiling coldly. Protective, isn't he? More than just security, perhaps? Heat rises to my cheeks. "That's inappropriate, Marcus." "Just concerned about your judgment, Taoi," he says. "First hiring a janitor for security, now I hear you're living together in Father's old suite." The information shocks me. How does he know our living arrangements? "Security precautions," Cruz says calmly. "After multiple attacks targeted Ms. Vale." Marcus studies him. Calculation evident. "Noble, especially bringing your daughter into it." Cruz stiffens beside me. The mention of Sophia crosses a line. "This conversation is over," I say firmly. "We'll present our findings to the board tomorrow." Marcus smiles thinly. "Looking forward to it, sister." He turns to leave, then pauses at the door. "Oh, and Cruz, children adapt quickly to change, don't they? Sophia seems quite attached to Elena already." The implied threat toward Sophia makes Cruz take a step forward. I catch his arm, stopping him from whatever response was forming. Marcus leaves, satisfaction in his stride. The door closes behind him. "He's threatening Sophia," Cruz says, voice dangerously quiet. "He's fishing," I correct. "Testing your reactions, looking for leverage." "How does he know about our living arrangement?" Cruz asks. "About Sophia's attachment." I shake my head, disturbed by the same question. He must have someone watching, building security maybe. "We need to move," Cruz decides. "The executive suite isn't secure if he knows we're there." "Where would we go?" I ask. "He'd find us anywhere." Cruz paces, tactical mind working. "We need to finish this," he says. "Find the evidence linking him to Meridian." "We're trying," I remind him. "Not hard enough," he insists. "He just threatened my daughter, Elena." The fear in his voice, the protective fury resonates deeply. "I know," I say softly. "I won't let him near her." Cruz looks at me, momentarily surprised by my vehemence. "You care about her." "Of course I do," I say, the admission easier than expected. "She's special." Something shifts in his expression, gratitude, perhaps even tenderness. "Let's go home," he says. "Check on her." Home. The word hangs between us, unexpectedly intimate in its casualness. The executive suite has become home, at least temporarily. We leave together, hyper-aware of being watched. In the car, Cruz sits closer than necessary, his protective instincts heightened by Marcus's veiled threats. He won't touch her, I promise again. Cruz's jaw remains tight. I should never have brought her into this. You were protecting her, I remind him. You still are. We reach the building, riding the private elevator in tense silence. When the doors open to the suite, Sophia's voice greets us. Daddy, Elena, look what Clara and I made. She stands in the kitchen, proudly displaying decorated cupcakes. Her fever has broken, color returned to her cheeks. The simple joy of her greeting momentarily disperses our tension. Cruz sweeps her into his arms, holding her tighter than usual. Hey, mija, he says, voice rough with emotion. Feeling better? Much better, she declares. Clara taught me how to make frosting flowers. Clara stands nearby, watching with quiet satisfaction. Her eyes meet mine, communicating that all has been well here. Thank you, I mouth to her. She nods, gathering her things to leave. The cupcakes were Sophia's idea, she says. She wanted to surprise you both. After she departs, we gather in the kitchen for an impromptu celebration of Sophia's recovery. The child's excitement temporarily masks the danger surrounding us. Later, after Sophia goes to bed, Cruz and I convene in the study. Marcus knows too much, he says without preamble. Agreed, I say. He has someone informing him. We need to accelerate our timeline, Cruz insists. Push Clara's investigation faster. She's being careful to avoid detection, I remind him, if Marcus realizes we're focusing on him specifically. He already knows, Cruz says. That visit wasn't coincidence. He's testing us, warning us. I pace the study, mind racing. The board dinner tomorrow night, I say. We need something concrete by then. What about your father's personal records? Cruz suggests. Did he keep separate files on the Cameron project? I stop pacing, a memory surfacing. His personal journal, I say slowly. He documented everything in handwritten journals, old school security. Where are they? Cruz asks, suddenly alert. Here, I realize. In this study. I packed them away after he died. We search the bookshelves and cabinets until I find the box of leather-bound journals. The most recent one would cover the period just before his death, and potentially his suspicions if he had any. Here, I say, pulling out the final volume. His last 3 months. Cruz watches as I open it, my father's familiar handwriting filling the pages. Technical notes mix with personal observations. His mind never separated the two. We read together, searching for anything related to the Cameron project or Marcus. Pages of neural interface specifications and testing notes reveal my father's brilliant mind. Then I find it, an entry dated 2 weeks before his death. M asked again about military applications, insisted Vale explore government contracts. I refused as always. Our work helps people, not weapons. He doesn't understand the difference. Concerning pattern emerging, server access after hours, copied files. Need to speak with Elena about succession plans earlier than expected. My hands shake as I read the words aloud. He knew, I whisper. He suspected Marcus was stealing research. Cruz reads over my shoulder. He was planning to name, use successor earlier than expected. But he died before he could tell me his suspicions, I realize. Heart attack, 2 weeks later. The timing seems suddenly suspicious. I voice the thought that's forming. What if it wasn't a heart attack? Cruz's expression darkens. You think Marcus? I don't know. I interrupt. But the timing, we stare at each other, the horrible possibility hanging between us. My own brother, capable of patricide for control of the company? We need to check the medical records, Cruz says decisively. Autopsy reports if they exist. I nod, mind reeling with implications. Clara can access them tomorrow. Cruz takes my hand, an unprecedented gesture of comfort. We'll find the truth, he promises. His touch anchors me as possibilities swirl. My father's death, potentially murder. Marcus, potentially responsible. The foundations of my world shift beneath my feet. He was the only person who ever truly loved me, I say, voice breaking. The only one who stayed. Cruz's hand tightens around mine. You're not alone anymore, he says simply. The words penetrate my shock, warming something long frozen inside me. I look up, meeting his eyes. Thank you, I whisper. He nods, understanding everything I can't articulate. His hand remains holding mine, strength flowing between us. In this moment of terrible possibility, I find unexpected comfort in his presence. Whatever comes next, I won't face it alone. Morning brings renewed purpose. I call Clara before dawn, briefing her on our discoveries and suspicions. I'll access the medical records immediately, she promises. And Elena, be careful. If Marcus realizes what we suspect, I know, I say. Watch your back, too. Cruz has already left to take Sophia to school, insisting on handling it personally after Marcus's veiled threats. His protective instincts heightened. He trusts no one with his daughter's safety. I wait for his return, reviewing my father's journal for additional clues. The entries paint a troubling picture. Growing suspicion about Marcus, concerns about research security, plans to restructure company leadership. The private elevator announces Cruz's return. He steps out, expression grim. Everything okay? I ask immediately. Fine, he says. Extra security at her school, teachers alerted to allow no unauthorized pickups. I nod, relieved by his thoroughness. Clara's checking the medical records. Good, he says. What else did you find in the journal? I show him additional entries. My father's increasing concerns about Marcus's interest in military applications. His determination to keep Vale Innovations focused on medical technology. He wanted to help people, I explain, not create weapons. Cruz studies the entries thoughtfully. Marcus saw bigger profits in defense contracts. Always about money with him, I agree. Never about impact. We prepare for the day, strategizing our approach to the board dinner tonight. Without concrete evidence, linking Marcus to Meridian Technologies or the attacks, we need a contingency plan. We present what we have, Cruz suggests. The suspicious transfers, the pattern of security breaches, the targeted attacks on your father's projects. Not enough, I say. The board needs proof, not suspicion. Then we set a trap, he says. The idea crystallizes between us, create a situation where Marcus reveals his connection to the attacks. Dangerous, but potentially effective. How? I ask. Announce a breakthrough, Cruz suggests. Claim you've reconstructed key elements of the Cameron project from backup files. Bait, I realize, to force another attack or theft attempt. He nods, but this time, we'll be waiting. The plan takes shape as we prepare for our respective responsibilities. Cruz finalizes security arrangements while I draft the announcement for the board dinner. Midday brings news from Clara. Your father's medical records, she says over secure line. The official cause of death was myocardial infarction, heart attack. Was there an autopsy? I ask. No, she says. No suspicious circumstances were noted. The information doesn't eliminate my suspicions, but provides no proof either. Heart attacks can be natural or induced. Without an autopsy, we may never know the truth. What about Meridian? Cruz asks. I found something, Clara says, voice dropping lower. Emails between Marcus and James Vickers dating back 4 years. They discuss shared interests and mutually beneficial arrangements. My pulse quickens. Can you forward them? Not electronically, she says. Too risky. I've printed copies. I'll bring them tonight. The first concrete evidence connecting Marcus to Meridian. Not definitive proof of theft or sabotage, but a starting point. Be careful, Cruz warns. If Marcus has someone watching you, I know, Clara says. I'm taking precautions. The day progresses with tense preparation. By late afternoon, we return to the suite to change for the board dinner. Sophia greets us excitedly, showing Cruz her school art project. It won for best drawing, she announces proudly. Cruz admires it appropriately, but I notice the strain behind his smile. Tonight's confrontation weighs heavily on him. I retreat to my room to prepare, selecting a powerful black dress that commands respect without ostentation. As I finish my makeup, a soft knock sounds at my door. Come in, I call, expecting Cruz with security updates. Instead, Sophia peeks round the door, clutching her sketchbook. Elena? Can I show you something? Of course, I say, surprised by her visit. Come in. She approaches tentatively, unusually shy. I made something for you, she says, a special drawing. She opens her sketchbook to reveal a carefully executed picture. 3 figures stand together, Sophia in the middle, holding hands with Cruz and me. Behind us stands a tall building labeled Vale in childish letters. It's us, she explains unnecessarily, at your company. The simple drawing stuns me with its implication. Sophia sees us as a unit, a family of sorts. The casual inclusion of me in her world touches something deep inside. Do you like it? She asks, uncertainty in her voice. I love it, I say honestly. It's beautiful, Sophia. Her face brightens. You can keep it, she says, carefully tearing it from her sketchbook. I made it just for you. I accept the drawing, emotion tightening my throat. Thank you, I manage. I'll keep it safe. She beams. Mission accomplished. Daddy says you have an important dinner tonight. Yes, I confirm. With the company board members. She nods sagely. That's why you look so pretty. The compliment, so simply delivered, warms me unexpectedly. Thank you, Sophia. She skips to the door, then turns back. Will you come say goodnight when you get home, even if I'm sleeping? The request, so innocent yet meaningful, catches me off guard. Of course, I promise. After she leaves, I stare at the drawing, emotions battling within me. This child has attached herself to me with such innocent hope. The responsibility of it terrifies me. I carefully place the drawing in my desk drawer, unable to display it openly, yet unwilling to discard it. Evidence of connection I didn't seek but now value deeply. When I emerge from my room, Cruz waits in the living area, dressed in a charcoal suit that transforms him from security consultant to executive. The sight of him, polished and formal, sends unexpected heat through me. His eyes widen slightly at my appearance. You look, he begins, then stops himself, ready for battle. I smile at his careful restraint. That's the idea. Sophia bounces around us, excited by our formal attire. You both look beautiful, she declares. Cruz kneels to her level. Clara will stay with you tonight, he explains. We might be home late. I know, she says. Elena promised to check on me when you get back. Cruz's eyes flick to mine, surprise and something warmer in his gaze. Did she? I nod, slightly embarrassed by the domestic arrangement. We should go, I say. The car is waiting. Clara arrives as we prepare to leave. She hands me a sealed envelope discreetly, the emails between Marcus and Vickers. Be careful, she murmurs. both of you. The drive to the restaurant proceeds in tense silence. Cruz sits beside me, close enough that our shoulders occasionally touch. The contact reassures rather than distracts. The trap is set, he says quietly. Security is monitoring all access points to the building. If someone tries to breach while we're at dinner, we'll catch them, I finish. And if Marcus is behind it, we'll have proof, he confirms. I nod, hand unconsciously finding his in the darkness of the car. He doesn't pull away, his fingers intertwining with mine briefly. Whatever happens, he says, voice low, we face it together. The simple promise steadies me more than elaborate security plans. Together. A word I never trusted until now. The restaurant comes into view, exclusive, discreet, perfect for board dinners and corporate politics. Cruz releases my hand as the car stops, professionalism returning. Ready? He asks. I meet his eyes, drawing strength from his steady presence. Ready. We exit the car together, stepping into the evening as a united front. Whatever Marcus has planned, whatever confrontation awaits, we'll face it as one. The thought carries me forward, head high, determined to protect what matters. My father's legacy, my company's future, and surprisingly, the small family that's unexpectedly become part of my life. The board dinner progresses with practiced civility. Chairman Brookfield makes polite conversation while watching me for signs of weakness. Marcus sits opposite, perfectly positioned to observe our interactions. Mr. Cruz, Brookfield says, addressing him directly, your security improvements seem effective. No incidents for several days now. Cruz nods professionally. We've implemented multiple redundant systems, he explains, making it significantly more difficult for anyone to breach our security. Anyone inside or outside the company, I add, watching Marcus carefully. My brother sips his wine, expression unreadable. Impressive work for someone so new to the organization. Mr. Cruz's military experience has proved invaluable, I say smoothly. His approach to security is refreshingly thorough. The conversation shifts to quarterly projections and market positions. I maintain my composure while watching for reactions to our planned announcement. Dessert arrives, signaling the appropriate moment. I tap my glass gently, drawing attention. Before we conclude, I say, I wanted to share some positive developments regarding the Cameron project. Marcus's attention sharpens immediately. Other board members lean forward with interest. As you know, the server attack damaged significant portions of the research, I continue. However, I'm pleased to announce we've recovered key elements from secure backups. The bait is set. I watch Marcus carefully as I deliver the fabricated news. Prototype testing can resume next week, I say. The neural interface functionality remains intact. Marcus's expression flickers briefly. Calculation, perhaps concern. His fingers tighten around his water glass. That's remarkable news, Brookfield says. Where were these backups stored? My father was cautious, I explain. He maintained separate storage systems for critical research. Marcus interjects, voice carefully controlled. What elements specifically were recovered? The core neural mapping protocols, I say, using technical language to obscure our deception. Enough to rebuild the prototype interface. His eyes narrow slightly. I wasn't aware such comprehensive backups existed. My father kept certain precautions private, I say, holding his gaze, even from family. The implication hangs between us. Marcus takes another sip of wine, mask firmly in place. When can the board review these recovered files? He asks. Security protocols require limited access, Cruz interjects smoothly, given the previous breaches. Brookfield nods approvingly. Understandable. but a demonstration soon would reassure investors. Of course, I agree. We'll arrange it once the prototype is functioning. The dinner concludes with cautious optimism from the board. Marcus remains reserved, watching Cruz and me with calculated interest. As we prepare to leave, Marcus approaches. "Congratulations on your recovery efforts, sister," he says smoothly. "I'd love to see these backups myself." "Security protocols," I remind him. "Limited access until we identify the source of the breaches." His smile doesn't reach his eyes. "Of course, security first." He turns to Cruz. "You've become quite indispensable," he observes. "Elena clearly values your protection." The innuendo hangs thinly veiled. Cruz meets his gaze steadily. "I take all my responsibilities seriously, Mr. Vale." "I'm sure you do," Marcus says. "Family always comes first, doesn't it? How is little Sophia?" The mention of his daughter causes Cruz's jaw to tighten. "Fine, thank you," he says stiffly. "Children are so adaptable," Marcus continues. "They form attachments quickly, don't they? To places, to people." The threat remains implicit but clear. My hand finds Cruz's arm, steadying him. "Good night, Marcus," I say firmly. "We have matters to attend to." He nods, conceding the moment. "Of course. Good night, sister." Mr. Cruz, we watch him leave, tension thrumming between us. "He's going to make a move tonight," Cruz says quietly. "That's the plan," I remind him. "Security is ready." We exit separately from the other board members, taking our private car back to the building. Cruz immediately calls the security team for updates. "Any unusual activity?" he asks. "Specifically around the executive floors or server rooms." The response appears negative. He hangs up, expression troubled. "Nothing yet," he says, "but he'll try something." Rain begins falling as we drive, drops streaming down tinted windows. The weather matches the growing tension between us. "What did Clara find in those emails?" Cruz asks. I open the envelope, scanning the printouts in the car's dim light. "Correspondence between Marcus and Vickers dating back 4 years, I summarize. Initially professional, then increasingly personal." "Does he mention the Cameron project specifically?" Cruz presses. "Not by name," I say, continuing to read. "But there are references to neural technology with military applications and redirecting research priorities." "Anything directly incriminating, Side?" he asks. I shake my head, frustrated. Careful language throughout. Suggestions and implications, nothing explicit. Cruz frowns, tactical mind working. Not enough for legal action. "No," I agree, "but enough to confirm they're connected." The car arrives at the building. Security reports no unusual activity during our absence. The trap hasn't been sprung. Yet. We take the private elevator to the executive suite. Clara greets us with news that Sophia is already asleep. "Everything quiet here," she reports. "No incidents." I thank her for staying, walking her to the elevator. When I return, Cruz stands by the windows, watching the rain intensify outside. "He's planning something else," he says without turning. "The announcement didn't trigger immediate action." "Maybe he's being cautious," I suggest. Cruz shakes his head. "No, he's changing tactics." I join him at the window, lightning illuminating his troubled profile. "What are you thinking?" "That we underestimated him," he admits. "He's more patient than I expected." The storm outside builds, thunder rumbling in the distance. Cruz removes his tie, unbuttoning his collar with distracted movements. "I should check on Sophia," he says. I nod, watching him disappear down the hallway. His devotion to his daughter remains his most defining characteristic and most exploitable vulnerability. Marcus recognized this immediately. Cruz returns moments later. "Still sleeping," he reports, tension visible in his shoulders. "You should rest," I suggest. We can monitor security remotely. He shakes his head. Not until this is finished. His determination, his refusal to yield even to exhaustion, strikes something inside me. This man who will not compromise when it comes to protection. Tell me about Maria, I say suddenly. The request clearly startles him. He turns from the window, expression guarded. Why? Because I want to understand, I say honestly, who she was, who you were with her. He studies me, deciding whether to allow this personal intrusion. Finally, he sighs, moving to sit on the couch. She was an artist, he begins, muralist. She painted community projects, school walls, public spaces. I sit beside him, giving him space while remaining close enough for confidence. We met after my second deployment, he continues. I was doing mechanical work at a veterans center where she was painting a mural. His voice softens with memory. She was fearless, climbing scaffolding, arguing with city officials about permits, defending her artistic vision. I listen, absorbing this glimpse of the woman who shaped him, who gave him Sophia. She believed art could change communities, he says, create hope in places that had none. She sounds remarkable, I say quietly. He nods, eyes distant with memory. She was strong, stubborn, passionate. Like you, I observe. A small smile touches his lips. We clashed sometimes, both too determined, too certain of our paths. The admission reveals a relationship more complex than perfect romance. Real, human, flawed. Her brother Miguel was the opposite, Cruz continues, expression hardening. Weak, selfish, always looking for easy money. The mention of her brother shifts the mood. Cruz's hands clench slightly. He borrowed from loan, sharks, he explains, gambling debts. When he couldn't pay, they came looking for him. But found Maria instead, I finish quietly. Cruz nods, pain evident in the tight line of his jaw. I was working late at the hospital, double shift. She called, said someone was outside. I told her to call the police, that I'd be home as soon as possible. Thunder crashes outside, echoing the tension in his story. Rain pounds against the windows. By the time I got there, he continues, voice rough, the police were already there. She'd been shot twice, died before the ambulance arrived. I reach for his hand, unable to stop myself. I'm sorry. His fingers close around mine, accepting the comfort. Sophia was at a neighbor's, he says. She didn't see it happen. Small mercy, I murmur. He nods, eyes closing briefly. Miguel disappeared that night. Never came to the funeral, never contacted us. Just vanished. Leaving you to raise Sophia alone, I say. Yes, he confirms. I left the hospital, took night work to be with her during the day. Everything changed. The simple summary encompasses years of struggle, of rebuilding life around his daughter's needs. My respect for him deepens immeasurably. You're an extraordinary father, I say. He looks surprised by the compliment. I just do what's necessary. No, I counter. You do far more than necessary. You reshape your entire life around her happiness. Something shifts in his expression, vulnerability breaking through his careful control. She's all I have left of Maria, he admits. All that matters. And now Marcus is threatening her, I say, understanding the depth of his fear. His hand tightens around mine. I won't let him near her. We won't, I correct. She matters to me too now. Our eyes meet, something unspoken passing between us. His gaze drops briefly to my lips before returning to my eyes. The air between us charges with possibility. Elena, he says, voice rough with emotion. Lightning flashes, illuminating his face. Then darkness descends, as every light in the suite goes out simultaneously. Cruz reacts instantly, standing and pulling me up beside him. "Power cut," he says, voice shifting to tactical mode. "Backup generators should activate," I say, but the lights remain off. "They've been disabled," he realizes. "This is it, the attack we were waiting for." He moves through the darkness with military precision, retrieving his phone. The screen illuminates his face with blue light. "No signal," he reports. "They've blocked communications." My heart rate accelerates. "Sophia," I say immediately. He's already moving down the hallway, me close behind. We enter her room, finding her still asleep, unaware of the danger. Cruz gently shakes her awake. "Mija," he says softly. "Wake up. We need to go." She blinks sleepily. "Daddy, what's wrong?" "Nothing, pequeña," he says calmly. "Just a little adventure. Can you put on your shoes for me?" She obeys with childish trust, not questioning the darkness or our tense expressions. Cruz gathers her small backpack, adding her sketchbook and favorite stuffed animal. "Where are we going?" she asks, now fully awake. "Somewhere safe," Cruz tells her, "but we need to be very quiet, like a game." She nods solemnly, accepting his explanation. I gather essential items: phone, keys, my father's journal. Cruz checks his weapon, ensuring it's loaded and secured. "The stairs," he says quietly. "Elevators will be disabled or monitored." I nod, following his lead. We move silently through the darkened suite. Sophia's small hand in Cruz's, my hand on his shoulder, maintaining contact in the darkness. At the stairwell door, he pauses, listening intently, before opening it. The emergency lights in the stairwell provide dim illumination. 30 floors down," he says quietly. "Stay close. If anything happens, your priority is Sophia." The instruction surprises me. "Rafe, promise me," he insists. "Get her out, no matter what." The intensity in his voice silences my objection. "I promise." He nods once, satisfied. "Let's go." We begin our descent, moving as quickly and quietly as possible. Sophia remains silent, sensing the seriousness of the situation despite Cruz's attempt to frame it as an adventure. 20 floors down, Cruz freezes, signaling us to stop. Footsteps echo from below, coming upward. Multiple sets moving with purpose. "Back," he whispers, guiding us up to the previous landing. He tries the door, locked. Building security protocols during power outages. The footsteps grow closer. Cruz makes a rapid decision, leading us back upward. "Where are we going?" I whisper. "Roof access," he explains. "Alternative exit route." We climb quickly, Sophia now in Cruz's arms to maintain speed. 10 more floors up brings us to the roof access door. Cruz checks it carefully before pushing it open. Rain greets us, heavy and cold. The storm has intensified, lightning illuminating the rooftop in brilliant flashes. Wind whips around us as we emerge. "Stay low," Cruz instructs, setting Sophia down. "Follow the maintenance path." We move across the rain-slick roof, keeping to shadows. Cruz leads us toward the building's edge where a maintenance ladder connects to the adjacent tower. "We can cross to the north building," he explains. "Their systems are separate. We can call for help from there." The plan makes tactical sense, but the crossing looks terrifying. A narrow metal walkway spanning between buildings, 30 stories above the street. "Can we make it in this storm?" I ask, eyeing the rain-slicked metal. "We have to," Cruz says grimly. "They're coming up the stairs behind us." As if confirming his words, the roof access door rattles, someone testing it from inside. "Go," Cruz urges. "You first, then Sophia, then me." I hesitate, looking at the frightened child. "Rafe, she's terrified." He kneels before his daughter. "Mija, remember when we practiced being brave?" he asks. This is just like that. Elena, we'll go first, then you follow. I'll be right behind you. Sophia nods, tears mixing with raindrops on her cheeks. I'm scared, Daddy. I know, baby, he says gently, but you're so strong. The strongest girl I know. The door rattles again, more forcefully. Cruz looks at me, urgency clear. Now, Elena. I move to the maintenance walkway, stepping carefully onto the metal grating. The wind buffets me immediately, rain reducing visibility to mere feet. I grasp the side rails, inching forward. Keep moving, Cruz calls. Steady pace. I continue forward, fighting terror with each step. The crossing feels endless, the adjacent building seemingly moving further away rather than closer. Finally, I reach the other side, turning back to signal Cruz. He lifts Sophia onto the walkway. Go to Elena, he instructs her. Don't look down, just look at her. Sophia steps onto the metal grating, small hands white-knuckled on the rails. She moves with agonizing slowness, whimpering with each gust of wind. You're doing great, I call to her. Just a little more. The roof access door behind Cruz bursts open. Dark figures emerge, weapons visible even through the rain. Cruz turns, placing himself between them and Sophia. Run, he shouts to me. Get her out. Sophia freezes on the walkway, paralyzed by fear and confusion. I reach for her, stretching as far as I can without losing my footing. Sophia, I call, come to me, honey. Just a few more steps. She moves toward me as gunfire erupts behind her. Cruz returns fire, providing cover as she scrambles the final distance into my arms. I pull her against me, shielding her with my body. Rafe, I call. He backs toward the walkway, still exchanging fire with the attackers. Go, he shouts. Remember your promise. Sophia clings to me, sobbing. Daddy. Cruz steps onto the walkway, still firing back at our pursuers. Lightning illuminates his determined expression as he begins crossing toward us. Halfway across, a bullet finds its mark. Cruz staggers, clutching his side. Blood spreads across his shirt, visible even in the darkness. Rafe, I scream. He continues forward, each step clearly agonizing. The attackers advance toward the walkway, preparing to follow. Cruz reaches us, face pale with pain. Inside, he gasps. Barricade the door. I help him through the roof access door of the adjacent building, Sophia clinging to my side. We secure the door behind us, Cruz wedging a maintenance tool through the handle. Down, he instructs, voice weakening. Security office on the 10th floor. We descend the emergency stairs, Cruz leaning heavily against the wall for support. His breathing grows labored, blood dripping onto the stairs behind us. You're hurt, Sophia says, noticing the blood. Daddy, you're bleeding. Just a scratch, mija, he lies, forcing a smile. Nothing to worry about. His eyes meet mine over her head, conveying what he won't say aloud. The injury is serious. I nod slightly, understanding the unspoken message. We continue downward, Cruz's movements growing slower with each flight. By the 15th floor, he stumbles, nearly falling. I catch him, supporting his weight. Let me see, I insist. No time, he says through gritted teeth. Keep moving. But his strength is failing rapidly. On the 12th floor landing, his legs give out. He slides down the wall, leaving a smear of blood behind. Daddy, Sophia cries, rushing to him. I kneel beside them, examining the wound. The bullet has torn through his side, blood flowing steadily despite his attempts to apply pressure. Go, he says weakly. Get her to security. Call Detective Ward. I'm not leaving you, I say firmly. You promised, he reminds me. Sophia's safety first. I look at his daughter, her face streaked with tears as she clutches her father's hand. Then back at Cruz, determination burning through pain in his eyes. We stay together, I decide. All of us. I tear strips from my dress, creating a makeshift bandage for his wound. Sophia, press this here, I instruct, guiding her small hands. Help Daddy hold it tight. She nods, following my instructions perfectly. I retrieve Cruz's phone, still without signal. 2 more floors, I say. Then we call for help. Cruz nods weakly. My gun, he says. Take it. I accept the weapon, tucking it into my waistband. Can you stand? He struggles to his feet with my support, leaning heavily against me. Let's go, he says, voice barely audible. We continue our descent, each step clearly agony for Cruz. Sophia remains close, her face set with determination beyond her years. The 10th floor door opens to a darkened corridor. Security lights provide minimal illumination as we make our way toward the security office. Cruz's breathing grows increasingly labored. His skin, pressed against mine as I support his weight, feels clammy and cold. Almost there, I encourage him. Just a little further. The security office door stands at the end of the hallway, its reinforced glass illuminated from within. Actual power, actual safety within reach. Cruz stumbles again, this time unable to regain his footing. Can't, he gasps, blood soaking through the makeshift bandage. I ease him against the wall, looking into his eyes. Yes, you can, Amahalaho, I insist. Sophia needs you. At his daughter's name, renewed determination crosses his face. He pushes himself up, leaning against me. We reach the security office door. I pound on it with my free hand, shouting for help. The door opens immediately, security personnel rushing to assist us. Medical emergency, I say. Call an ambulance, now. They help Cruz inside, laying him on a couch. One officer immediately applies proper pressure bandages, while another calls for medical assistance. Armed intruders, I explain rapidly. Top floor of Vale Tower. They cut power, disabled communications. The head security officer nods, already alerting police. They're reporting multiple incidents across downtown, he says. Power outages, communications disruption, some kind of coordinated attack. Cruz beckons me closer, his voice fading. Ward, he reminds me. Call Detective Ward. I provide the number to security, explaining the connection to our situation. One officer reports outside communication lines are being restored. Sophia sits beside her father, holding his hand with both of hers. Stay awake, Daddy, she pleads. Don't close your eyes. Cruz struggles to comply, fighting unconsciousness. Not going anywhere, mija, he promises weakly. I kneel beside them, one hand on Sophia's shoulder, the other joining hers around Cruz's fingers. Don't you dare die on me, I say fiercely. Not when I just found you. His eyes find mine, something profound passing between us despite his weakened state. Not planning to, he whispers. Sirens wail in the distance, growing louder. Help approaches, but Cruz's color worsens, his breathing increasingly shallow. Hurry, I urge the security officer. Tell them to hurry. Sophia begins crying softly. Please don't leave me, Daddy. Please don't go to heaven like Mommy. Cruz squeezes her hand weakly. I won't, he promises. Daddy's staying right here with you. But his eyes are closing despite his efforts to keep them open. Blood continues seeping through the pressure bandages. I lean closer, voice breaking. Rafe, look at me, I command. Stay with us. His eyes flutter open, finding mine with effort. Elena, he says, voice barely audible. Take care of her. If anything happens, nothing's happening, I interrupt fiercely. You're going to be fine. But his consciousness is slipping. The security officers report the ambulance has arrived downstairs. Rafe, I say urgently. Rafe, stay with me. His eyes close. his hand going slack in mine. Sophia's sobs intensify. "Daddy, wake up!" Paramedics burst into the room, immediately assessing Cruz's condition. They work efficiently, starting IVs, applying proper bandages, monitoring vital signs. "Gunshot wound to the right flank," one reports. "Significant blood loss, pulse thready but present." They transfer him to a stretcher, continuing treatment as they prepare to move him. "We're going to University Hospital," the lead paramedic tells me. "Are you family?" I hesitate only briefly. "Yes," I say, taking Sophia's hand. "We're his family." They allow us to accompany him in the ambulance. Sophia refuses to release her father.